Hello, all of you. So let us look into the solution of this question. Here is a spaceship of mass 2 into 10 to the power 4 kg, which is launched into a circular orbit close to the surface of the Earth. The additional velocity that has to be imparted to the spaceship so that it can overcome the gravitational pull. Okay. Now, see, basically the idea here is that suppose this is the Earth. Okay. So you are launching the satellite very close to the Earth. That means the orbital radius will be nearly equals to the radius of the Earth. So it's like, you are just like this red colored orbit, as you can see, which is very, very close to the surface of the Earth. Okay. So this in this orbit, the satellite is revolving. So we know that what is the orbital velocity? Orbital velocity formula is root of g into m by radius of the orbit, which in this case is equals to radius of the Earth, because as I said, radius of the orbit is very, very close to the, orbit is very, very close to the Earth surface. All right. Now, what do we want? We want that it should be able to escape the gravitational pull. That means it should reach the escape velocity, and we know the escape velocity is root 2 gm by on the Earth's surface, because we can assume that the satellite is nearly on the Earth's surface. So it will be root 2 gm by r. Yes or no? So basically, question is asking that how much extra velocity which we should give with respect to the orbital velocity. That means right now it is having orbital velocity, and we want it to acquire escape velocity. So our answer should be root 2 gm by r minus root gm by r. Okay. Now we have already written the expression. All we need is to get the values. So we can take root gm by r common over here, and we will be left with root 2 minus 1. Okay. Now see, if I multiply by r and if I divide by r like this, okay. So here r is the radius of the Earth, but very interestingly, gm by r square you might be knowing is the gravity on the surface of the Earth. Yes or no? Now this value has been given to us as root 10. Gravity value is 10 given in the question, and this value is radius of the Earth is 6400 kilometers, which we convert into meters. So this will become 1000. Okay, I have to multiply with the 1000 in order to convert this into meters. So now 64 under root will be 8, and we have 6 zeros, so 3 zeros will come out. So this will be your answer in meter per second. But if you notice the options, they are in kilometer per second. So that means in kilometer per second, you have to divide by 1000, which will become 8 into root 2 minus 1 kilometer per second. That will be the solution to this question.
Let us look at the solution to this question. Now see, here again a very easy question. We have been given the RMS speed of the chlorine molecule, which is 490 meter per second at 27 degrees Celsius, and we have been asked the RMS speed of argon, okay, at the same temperature. Okay, now again very easy question. So basically for the chlorine we will write RMS speed, which is 490, is equals to under root of 3 RT by molar mass. Okay, this is the formula of RMS speed. Now just remember few points here. Ideally we should put molar mass in kilogram and temperature in Kelvin. Okay, but since here I am going to take the ratio, so it does not matter whether you put m naught in kilogram or any other unit, because I'm going to take the ratio, so the effect of non-standard unit will get cancelled. But however, for the temperature, still you should ideally put the Kelvin. Okay, although here again, since we are calculating at the same temperature, so even if you put degree Celsius, it will not matter. So 3 into R into temperature, still I'm converting this into Kelvin. So 27 degrees Celsius will become 300 Kelvin. Okay, divided by molar mass of chlorine. So molar mass of chlorine is 70.9. Okay, u. Now for the argon, the let us say the RMS speed is v. Okay, and we will write 3 into R into temperature is 300 again, and this will be 39.9. Okay, so if I divide this 490 by v, okay, if I divide this, you will get 39.9 divided by 70.9, right? So now we just have to value of v will become root of 70.9 divide by 39.9 multiplied by 490. All right, so when you do the calculation, it will be nearly 651. Okay, approximately you'll get 651. So option B will be the correct answer for this question. A very standard question again, from the topic of errors. Here we have been given a cylindrical wire, basically whose mass, length, and radius has been given, and we have to calculate the error in the density. Now we know that density can be written as mass upon volume, and volume for a cylindrical wire can be written as pi r square L, correct? Now we have to find the error. Very easy, standard formula, d rho by rho will be is equals to dm by m, plus pi is the constant, so it will not have any error, 2 dr by r plus dl by l. All right. So dm, what is the error in the mass? It is 0.01 upon mean value of mass is zero point 0.4, and the error in the radius is 0.03 divided by mean value of radius is 6, and error in the length is 0.04 divided by mean value is 8. So how much does this become if you calculate in the percentage terms? So we have to also multiply by 100 if we want to calculate in the percentage terms. Okay, so that will become 1 by zero point 0.4, that means 2.5%. This will be 3 to the 6, that means 1%, and this will be 4 by 8, that means 0.5%, which means overall answer will be 4%. So option C will be correct. A very standard question from current electricity. Here you have been given a part of an electrical circuit, and the potential at the point A has been given how much? 30 volts. Potential at the point B has been given 12 volt, and potential at the point C has been given 2 volts. We have to find in this we have to find the current in this 20 ohm resistor. Direct application of nodal analysis. Let us say that here the potential is x. So here, if here the potential is x, then I can apply nodal analysis at x minus 30 by 10, okay, plus x minus 12 by 20 plus x minus 2 by 30. Okay, that should be is equals to 0. So from here you can see that x minus 30 plus x minus 12 by 2 plus x minus 2 by 3 will be 0. Basically I have taken this 10 in the 0 which is present in the denominator, and now you can see x plus x by 2 plus x by 3 will be is equals to 30. 12 by 2 is 6, and 2 by 3 is 2 by 3. So we can take the LCM here, it will be 6. So 6x plus 3x plus 2x, and here also we can take LCM will be 3. That will be 90, and 6 is 18 plus 2. All right. So how much are we getting? So 6 plus 3, 9 plus 2, 11x by 6. That should be is equals to 18 plus 2, 20, 110 by 3. That means x becomes how much? 220 by 11, which means 20. So value of x comes out to be 20 volts, and which means the current in the 20 ohm resistor will be 20 minus 12 upon 20. Okay, so I in the 20 ohm resistor will be potential x minus potential b upon current, sorry, upon resistance. So this will become how much? 8 by 20, which means 0.4 amperes. Okay, thank you. Let's see this question. This is from the alternating current. Here we have been given two graphs. One is the graph A and another is the graph B. Okay, and we have to choose which graph can represent what quantity if we start changing F. Now on the y-axis we can have Xc, which is the reactance of a basically purely capacitive circuit, or you can say simply the 1 by omega c, right? Which is nothing but 1 by 2 pi fc. All right. Then xl, so on the y-axis we can have xl, which is nothing but omega l, so that becomes 2 pi f into l. And then on the y-axis we can have r, which is just the resistance value, and then on the y-axis we can have impedance. All right. Now what is impedance? If you remember, so impedance is under root of r square plus xc minus xl whole square. All right. Now see, clearly if you look at curve B, so curve B has to be direct proportionally, I mean it has direct proportionality with frequency, which means key it has to be XL only, because you can have a look, XL is directly proportional to F. So curve B, it is following the graph of y is equals to mx, like it's a straight line passing through origin. So basically we can say that curve B has a direct proportionality with F. So it has to be XL. B has to be XL, which means option A, option B, and option C are wrong, because clearly B has to be XL. And A, if you look, A has to be XC only, because A has inverse proportionality with the frequency. So XC, as you can have a look over here, has an inverse proportionality with frequency. Okay, XC has an inverse proportionality with frequency, which is why we can say that curve A has to be XC. So option D satisfies both of them. Thank you. Let us look at this question, guys. So here we have to compare the de Broglie wavelength of alpha particle, electron and proton. Okay, the kinetic energy of the electron has been given 4k, the kinetic energy of the alpha particle is 2k, and the kinetic energy of the proton is k. Now, see, one thing you should understand is that if I call the mass of proton as m, all right, then the mass of alpha particle is 4m, because alpha particle is the helium nucleus, so we can consider it has, like, it is around 4 times heavier than proton, because helium nucleus has 2 protons and 2 electrons, all right. And mass of electron, okay, it is nearly 1840 times less than the mass of proton. It is approximately 1840 times lighter than the proton, electron, okay. Now, what is the formula of de Broglie wavelength? So de Broglie wavelength we know is h upon mv. Mv is nothing but linear momentum, okay, linear momentum. And you might recall that linear momentum can very well be written as under root 2 into mass into kinetic energy, all right. Now, what does this mean? Ki lambda is inversely proportional to mass into kinetic energy. In fact, lambda is inversely proportional to under root of mass into kinetic energy. Okay. Now let's try to see the product of mass into kinetic energy for electron. So for electron, if I see, so mass of electron is m upon 1840 into kinetic energy is 4k. All right. So this becomes 4 upon 1840 into mk. All right. For proton, if I talk about, okay, for proton if I talk about, so for proton it is mass we have taken m, and kinetic energy was given as k only, so it is mk only. And for alpha particle, if we talk about, mass is 4m and kinetic energy is what? Kinetic energy is 2k. Yes, that means this will become 8 mk. So if you see, highest value we are getting is for alpha particle, okay. Second we have for proton, and the smallest value we are getting is for basically the for electron, okay. And we know that lambda is inversely proportional to under root of mass into kinetic energy, all right. So that means the smallest value of electron, the smallest value of product of mass into kinetic energy is for electron, which means lambda of electron will in fact be heaviest or largest. Then we will have proton, okay, and then we will have alpha particle, right? So lambda electron will be largest, then we have lambda proton, and then we have alpha particle. So option C will be the correct answer for this question. Let us have a look at this question. So here basically we have a convex lens which is of refractive index 1.5 and is placed on a plane mirror. Now, if the object is kept at a distance of 18 centimeter from the combination, then a real and inverted image is formed on itself. Now see, this combination will behave like an equivalent mirror, and the like the power in this case we can write as P equivalent is equals to twice the power of lens plus power of mirror. Basically ray will come like this, it will cross the convex lens, then it will hit the plane mirror, and then it will again cross the convex lens and it will go back. So now what is the P equivalent? So P equivalent we know can be written as minus 1 upon F equivalent, and power of lens. So this is the lens which is the convex lens over here. Okay, so that can be written as 1 upon focal length of the lens plus power of mirror. Since the mirror here is the plane mirror, so its power is 0. Okay, so power of the plane mirror is 0. So that I'm writing as 0 here. Now see, overall, if you look, the object, if it is kept at 18 centimeter, the image is formed on itself. That means if you understand, this whole combination is behaving like a concave mirror of focal length 9 centimeter, because the radius of curvature is 18 centimeter. That means if you replace this whole thing by a concave mirror of radius of curvature 18 centimeter, so and if you keep the object here at a distance of 18 centimeter, then we know that concave mirror will form the image at itself, provided the radius of curvature was 18, right? Because the concave mirror forms the image on the object itself if the object is kept at the radius of curvature. So we can say that that means the radius of curvature of this equivalent mirror must have been 18 centimeter, which is why we can say that equivalent focal length will be minus 9 centimeter, minus just because it is a concave mirror. Okay, it is going to behave like a concave mirror. So from here we can see that 2 by focal length of the lens becomes 1 by 9 centimeter, and this lens is this convex lens. All right. Now next thing is that using lens maker formula, okay, using lens maker formula, we know that 1 upon focal length of the lens will be is equals to mu of lens minus 1 divided by 1 by r1. So this surface is r1, okay, this surface is r1, and it will have positive radius, minus second surface will have r2 and it will have negative radius. So I'm writing this as minus r. So basically mu l will be 1.5 minus 1, so that will be half. Mu l is given 1.5, and this will become 2 by r. All right. Now 1 by FL will be 1 by 18 centimeter, right? So from here you can see that radius of curvature comes out to be 18 centimeter. That means the radius of curvature of this convex lens is 18 centimeter. Now what we are doing? We are filling a liquid over here. So basically, if you understand, we are filling a liquid over here. That means this entire thing will be a liquid. Okay, this entire thing will be a liquid. So imagine now there are three lenses basically. One is this lens, which is the convex lens. Okay, and just between the convex lens and the plane mirror, we will have a very thin liquid lens, which will be a plano concave lens. Okay, plano concave lens, and below this we will be having a mirror. We will be having mirror like this, plane mirror, right? Because this liquid will behave like a liquid will acquire the shape of a plano concave lens. Okay, now again, the question is saying that the overall radius of curvature in this case was 27 centimeter, because again, if you understand, the idea here is that the overall object, if it is kept at 27 centimeter, then the image is formed there itself. That means this overall combination will behave like a concave mirror of focal length 13.5. Why? Because the radius of curvature is 27 centimeter. So again, I will write the same formula. P equivalent will be twice the power of the original lens, which was convex lens, plus twice the power of this plano concave lens. So I'm writing C, plano concave lens as C, and plus power of mirror is again 0. Plane mirror will not have any power. Okay, P equivalent will be minus 1 upon F equivalent. Okay, and power of lens will be 2 by FL. This is the original lens, convex lens, plus the power of concave lens, plano concave lens. Okay, that will be 1 upon focal length of the plano concave lens, right? Now remember, this overall combination is behaving uh, like a concave mirror of focal length 13.5. So that means we will write minus 13.5 because it's a concave mirror, so it will be negative. 2 by FL is anyway 1 by 9, that we have already calculated. Now from here you will get 2 by focal length of plano concave lens. Okay, so from here what do we get? So we get 2 by focal length of plano concave lens is how much? 1 by 13.5 minus 1 by 9. That means this you can write 2 by 27 minus 3 by 27. That means this will be minus 1 by 27. So focal length of the concave lens will come out to be minus 54. Now if you again, I'm just showing you the plano concave lens separately now. So this was the plano concave lens which was made up of liquid. Okay, so this was the plano concave lens which was made up of liquid. Let me draw the figure again. Yeah, so if you look at the plano concave lens, I'm slightly showing you a thick plano concave lens. Okay, like this. So this was made up of liquid. All right. So if you see, this is the radius of curvature is same as that of convex lens, because because liquid will take the shape of the plano convex lens itself. I mean to say कि this radius of curvature will be that of plano convex lens. So using the lens maker formula, 1 by fc will be mu of liquid minus 1 into 1 by r1, 1 by r1 down. This r is negative and it is equals to radius of plano convex lens, minus 1 by r2, r2 is infinity. All right. So 1 by fc, fc is minus 54 is equals to mu l minus 1 into minus 1 by r, and r we had calculated 18 centimeter. This minus and this minus will be cancelled. 18 into 3. So mu l minus 1 is 1 by 3. So mu l becomes 4 by 3. That means the refractive index of the liquid will be 4 by 3. I hope you would have understood. Let us look at this question, guys. So basically here we have a body which is projected with certain velocity, which has range root 48 times the maximum height. Now the question asking what is the change in the angle of projection required so that range becomes root 16 by 3 times the maximum height. So what's the question? Suppose you have thrown a projectile. Okay, then we know that if you throw at an angle theta at the speed u, okay, so this is the maximum height. All right, and this is the range. Yes or no? Now what is the formula of the maximum height? So formula of the maximum height is u square sine square theta by 2g, and range is u square sine 2 theta by g, right? Now if I find the ratio of h by r, okay, so if I find the ratio of h by r, so like if I divide this, so you can see u square will get cancelled, g and g will get cancelled. We will have sine square theta by 2 into sine 2 theta, right? Now look, sine 2 theta, which is in the denominator, can be written as 2 sin theta cos theta. So you will get 4 sin theta cos theta in the denominator, and this will become tan theta by 4. Okay, tan theta by 4, the value of h by r. Correct. Now, as per the given data, if you look, so in the first case, the range is root 48 times maximum height. That means r is equals to root 48h. Correct, for the first situation. So if I, let's say in the first situation, the angle of projection was theta 1. Okay, angle of projection was theta 1. Okay, that means if I check the ratio of h by r, okay, h by r, it is 1 by root 48 in the first situation, and that should be is equals to 1 by 4 tan of theta 1, right? So if you see from here, 4 will go on this side, so 4 upon root 48, which is nothing but 1 upon root 3, which will be is equals to tan of theta 1, which means theta 1 should be is equals to how much? 30 degree. In the second situation, suppose you have thrown at an angle theta 2. Okay, so in this case, the range is root 16 by 3 maximum height. That means in the second situation, the ratio of h by r will be what? 1 upon, sorry, root of 3 by 16, right? This will be the ratio. H by r will be root of 3 by 16. Okay, and this should be is equals to 1 upon 4 tan theta 2, right? Now here you can see this 4 and root 16 will get cancelled, which means theta 2 should be is equals to 60 degree, right? So how much is the change required? Change will be theta 2 minus theta 1, that will come out to be 30 degree. So option A will be the answer to this. In this question, basically we have to find the charges of on the capacitors, 5 microfarad and 3 microfarad in the steady state. Now notice that in the steady state, we know that charges on the capacitor, like capacitors, will be fully charged, both 5 as well as 3, which means the current in these two branches will be zero. Like current in this branch will also be zero, and current in this branch will also be zero. So if you remember, capacitor can be opened in this situation to find the value of the current. So if I remove the capacitor just to check how much current is flowing in the remaining circuit, so I'm drawing the remaining circuit over here. So you can see that I have just removed the capacitor from the given circuit. So the remaining circuit will look somewhat like this. These are the resistors 1, 2, 3 and 4 ohm, and the battery is of 10 volt. So if we check how much current is flowing here, so basically the current flowing here is I is equals to total voltage upon 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, all of them are in series. So basically total resistance will be 10 ohm. That means 1 ampere. So current flowing will be 1 ampere. Now this 1 ampere will go directly like this. Okay, this current 1 ampere will go directly like this. So we have to find the value of the uh, potential difference across 5 microfarad and 3 microfarad, and once we find that, we will be able to write the charge. So basically look at this point. Let me call this point as point A, and let me call this point as point B. Okay, so if you look in this circuit, this is point A and this is the point B. So how much current was flowing through this this wire through AB? So current is 1 ampere and the total resistance is 3 ohms between A and B. So we can say that VAB, okay, VAB will be how much? Current into resistance, which is 3 ohm. That means 3 volts. 3 volts will be the potential difference. And if you look, this capacitor of 5 microfarad was connected here only. That means the potential difference is 3 volts, which means the charge on this 5 microfarad will be basically 5 into 3. Okay, so that means 15 microcoulombs. Okay, and this will be the positively charged plate, and this will be the negatively charged plate. Similarly, if you look at this 3 microfarad, so here also, like this 2 and 3, current was 1 ampere here, like between here, if you see, current was 1 ampere. So what is the potential difference between these 2 points, like here and here? What is the potential difference? So current of 1 ampere is flowing through 5 ohms. Okay, 2 plus 3 is 5. So we can say that the potential difference is 5 into 1. Okay, so like between these 2 points where the capacitor is connected. So we can say that basically if I call this point as C and if I call this point as D, so VCD will be 5 into 1. Okay, so that means that will be again 5 volts. All right, and this is what? This is 3 microfarad. Okay, so what is the charge here? 5 3s are 15. So this will also have 15 charge. Okay, so basically both of the capacitor have total charge of 15 15. So option A will be the correct answer for this question. Let us look at this question. Here we have 3 hollow cylinders A, B, and C, each of mass m. Okay, and radius r, and they're allowed to roll down on the 3 inclined planes A dash, B dash, and C dash, each of inclination theta. Okay, now look, the coefficient of friction between A dash and A is 0. Between B dash and B is greater than 0 but less than tan theta by 2. Okay, and between C dash and C it is greater than tan theta by 2. So we have to check out the given options. Now first let's do some basic calculations here. Let's see. Suppose this is an inclined plane. Okay, suppose this is an inclined plane, and let's say this is a cylinder, hollow cylinder. Okay, now suppose pure rolling is happening. Okay, we'll have to check whether pure rolling will happen or not, but let us just assume as of now that pure rolling is happening. So you might have been told that in the case of pure rolling happening, the acceleration of this center of mass is given by g sine theta upon 1 plus I center of mass upon mr square. Very standard formula this is. So basically, what is the center? What is the moment of inertia of the hollow cylinder about center of mass? That is mr square itself. And if you divide this by mr square, so this becomes g sine theta upon 2. All right, now what does this mean? This means that what is the value of the required friction? So basically, if if I assume what are the forces acting down the inclined plane, so one will be mg sine theta, and friction, let us say, is acting in the upward direction. So what is the net force acting down the line? So net force acting down the line is mg sine theta minus friction. That will be equals to mass into acceleration of center of mass. Yes or no? From here, we understand that the required friction for pure rolling to happen, okay, remember we had assumed that pure rolling is happening. So if the pure rolling has to happen, then this much is the required friction. Okay, now let us see what is the normal reaction present here. So normal reaction will be definitely balancing the mg cos theta, right? So we can say that normal reaction is equals to mg cos theta here. Okay, so that means how much is the friction required? Mg sin theta by 2. Now what does that mean? How much is the mu required? So mu required is friction upon normal reaction, because we know that friction is mu into n, I mean static friction limiting value. Okay, maximum value of static friction is mu into n. So mu required value of mu will be this f by n, that means mg sin theta by 2 divided by normal reaction. This is the value of required mu. Okay, this much mu is required. So you check, it is coming out to be tan theta by 2. Okay, which is why question has given this threshold value. That means if you want if you want pure rolling to happen, then so at least tan theta by 2 friction coefficient should be present. Okay, now let's go back to the data again. In the first case, the coefficient of friction is 0. That means there is no friction. What does this mean, guys? So basically, if there is no friction, that means there can be no torque about center of mass. See, mg cos theta, mg sin theta, and normal reaction, all of them pass through center of mass, which means there is no torque, and hence there will be no alpha, which means body cannot rotate, because if there is no alpha, then that means rotation will not even happen. So body will come down directly. Body will come down directly without any rotation. Okay, and in this case, what will be the acceleration? So it's like only force acting down the plane is mg sin theta. So acceleration will be g sin theta. It's like cylinder will behave like a block. Okay, cylinder will behave like a block. So in the first case, for the case A, we can say that acceleration will be g sin theta. Okay. In the second case, coefficient of friction is greater than 0 but less than tan theta by 2. Now see, in the second case, what will happen? Friction is present, but it is not sufficient for pure rolling to happen, because mu is tan theta, like minimum mu we require is tan theta by 2. Minimum mu, this is the minimum mu required. Okay, but we have less than tan theta by 2. So in the second case, what will happen? Body will not be able to pure roll. I mean, it will roll, but it will not be pure rolling. So basically, body will suffer like body will come down, but with sliding friction. That means friction will not be able to provide sufficient torque. So basically, body will slide down, but friction will act, but it will be a sliding friction. Okay, so kinetic friction, which is called. All right, so in this case, what will happen? Acceleration will become less than g sin theta. Why it will be less than g sin theta? Because now we have a net force down the plane mg sin theta minus friction, and this friction is mu into normal, and mu, remember, is less than this value tan theta by 2. Okay, so option A, by the way, becomes wrong. Why? Because option A is saying C has minimum angular speed, whereas we know that body A will have minimum angular speed, which is 0. When the cylinder A will reach bottom, it will have 0 angular speed, which is why option A is wrong. All three have equal kinetic energy. This is also wrong. Why? Look, body A did not suffer any loss in the kinetic energy because there was no friction. Only mg was acting. Okay, in the body B, friction is going to eat away the energy. Okay, friction, because this is sliding friction. So here the work done by friction will be lost as heat. All right, so basically in the situation B, kinetic energy of the body will be minimum. All right, in the situation C, if I talk about, like in the situation C, what will happen? Friction is enough. Mu was greater than tan theta by 2. That means in the situation C, pure rolling will happen. Okay, pure rolling will happen. Now you might have been taught that in the case of pure rolling, friction certainly acts, but its work done is zero. Why? Because the bottom point is at instantaneous rest. So situation C is most interesting. In this case, friction will definitely act, but its work done will be zero, which is why kinetic energy will still, like mechanical energy, we can say, will still remain conserved. So if you check out the total kinetic energy of the body at the bottom, it will still be equals to case A. In case A as well as case C, the kinetic energy at the bottom will be equals to loss in the potential energy. Okay. The only difference is that in the case A, the entire kinetic energy will be translational. That means it will be because of linear motion. Whereas in the case C, the entire kinetic energy will be due to translational plus rotational. Okay, but the total kinetic energy will be same. But case B will be having minimum kinetic energy. So option B becomes wrong. Option C is B takes minimum time to reach the bottom. This is also wrong. Why? Because minimum time will be in the case A, because the net force is only mg sin theta. There is no friction acting up the plane. And option D is correct, as you can see, because as I said, B suffers loss in the mechanical energy because of the work done by the friction. It's a good question. I hope you would have understood. Let us look at this question, guys. So basically in this, there's a person of mass 50 kg, and there's a trolley of mass 30 kg, and person has to pull the rope down such that the entire system moves up with an acceleration of g by 4. Okay, so let us say the person is applying a force tension T in the downward direction. So person is pulling the rope in the downward direction. So by third law we can say that rope will apply an equal force T in the upward direction. Now if you see, this same tension T will act here also, right? Now if you consider person plus trolley as a single system, okay, then you know what are the forces? T here and T here. So total force acting upward is 2T and minus M plus mg. Okay, this is the downward force. That should be is equals to, now entire system, like whatever is the acceleration of the trolley, that will also be the acceleration of the man. So question is saying that the acceleration should be g by 4 in the upward direction. So how much we get? 2T will be is equals to m plus mg plus g by 4. Okay, if you bring this on the right side and take m plus m common, so here you will get, this is capital M. So small m was 50 and capital M was 30, so that means it will become 80 into g plus g by 4. Now g we can take 10 and g by 4 is what, 2.5. Okay, so that means this will become how much? uh, T will be 40 into 12.5. Okay, so this will be how much? 500 Newton, but we have to report the answer in the unit kilogram weight. So you know what is kilogram weight? Basically, if you like Newton divided by gravity. Suppose the answer is in Newton, so basically you have to divide that in by the basically gravity. So you'll get the value uh, in the kilogram weight. So that means 500 Newton divided by G, which is 10. So that means this will become 50 kilogram weight. Okay, thank you. Let's look at this question. So here basically there are three beams, each of intensity I, and they superimpose at a point O. All right. The phase of the first wave is less than that of second by pi by 3. That means phi 2 minus phi 1 is pi by 3. Okay, and greater than that of third by pi by 3. That means phi 1 minus phi 3 is also pi by 3. We have to find the resultant intensity at point O. Now, see, if you remember, there are two things here. The first thing is that intensity is proportional to the square of the amplitude. All right. So let us say, intensity of each wave is I, and let us say amplitude of each wave is A. So intensity will be some constant beta into A square, where beta is the proportionality constant. All right. Now, we know that in these situations where these waves superimpose, then amplitude can be treated like a vector. Okay, amplitude can be treated like a vector. Now you note that amplitude of the first wave lags behind the second wave by a phase of pi by 3. Okay, that means if I draw the amplitude of the first wave like this, okay, let's say this is the amplitude of the first wave, then amplitude of the second wave will be drawn like this. Okay, this is the amplitude of the second wave at an angle of pi by 3. So you can see that amplitude of the second wave leads the amplitude of the first wave by pi by 3. Okay, and amplitude of the third wave was lagging the amplitude of the first wave by pi by 3. So since we have drawn, like, look, this is the second wave, right? So second wave is leading, so we have drawn the angle in the uh, anti-clockwise direction. Look, this is anti-clockwise. So basically I have drawn the angle in the anti-clockwise direction. So for the first wave, for the third wave, sorry, for the third wave which is lagging the first wave, I should draw the angle in the clockwise direction. So this is for the third wave. Okay, so this is how the vector diagram of the amplitudes will be drawn. Okay, now these three vectors will add up to give us the resultant amplitude. Okay, so just treat them like vectors. So if you look at the second wave, its x component will be a cos pi by 3. Okay, and y component will be a sin pi by 3, right? For the third wave, its x component will be a cos pi by 3, and the y component will be a sin pi by 3, but in the downward direction. All right, now if you look at this vector and this vector, they will cancel each other, and these two vectors will add up, and this will also this is also pointing in the x direction. So you can very well see that net amplitude that we will get will be a plus 2a cos pi by 3. Okay, now cos pi by 3 is half, so this will become net 2a. All right, so net amplitude becomes 2a. So what will be I net? I net will be beta into 2a square, because net amplitude is 2a. So if we divide the equation 2 by equation 1, so basically this is equation 2 and this is the equation 1. So equation 2 by equation 1, then we can get I net upon I will be is equals to 4a square upon a square. That means I net will be is equals to 4i. This will be the answer to this question. So here in this question, basically the equation of SHM is given, and at t equals to 0, the particle was at a by 2 and was moving in the negative x direction. Okay, so if you look, y is equals to a sine of omega t plus phi naught. All right, now if I put t equals to 0 here, then y should become a by 2. Okay, so this will be a sine, put t equals to 0 in this, that will become a phi naught. Now phi a and a will get cancelled, so sine phi naught will be is equals to half. Now see, phi naught can have two possible values. One is pi by 6 and other is 5 pi by 6. Now which is going to be correct? So 5 pi by 6 will be correct, because for pi by 6, particle will move in the positive x direction. Okay, so let me just quickly tell you. Suppose this is the equilibrium position. So if the initial phase, this is called as initial phase. If the initial phase is between 0 to 90, then particle is moving in the particle is in this zone, basically going from 0 to plus a. Okay, if the initial phase is between 90 degree and 180 degree, then particle is between plus a and x equals to 0 and going in the negative x direction, which is what is happening here, which is why I am saying this must have been the case. If the initial phase is between 180 degree and 270 degree, then particle is in this region, like between origin and negative a and going towards negative a. And if the initial phase is between 270 and 360, basically 360 again is called as 0 in this case. So basically now the particle is going from minus a to origin. So that is the situation. Okay, you can also check this with the direction of velocity, because if you differentiate this dy by dt, then you'll get the velocity. All right, so that will become a omega cos of omega t plus phi naught. All right, now if at t equals to 0, if I put, so basically velocity will become a omega cos of phi naught. Okay, and we know that velocity was negative, so if the velocity has to be negative, then phi naught cannot be pi by 6, phi naught has to be 5 pi by 6. From here also you can understand. Okay, let us see this question. So basically here what is happening, let's there's a bar which has been supported by three wires. Okay, so one is this wire which is of length L, other is this wire which is also of length L, and the third wire is also of length L, and all the wires are hung, let's say, from the ceiling. Okay, now what do we want? So basically the end wires, they are of copper, so this is copper wire, and this is also copper wire. Okay, and this is the iron wire. All right, now what should be the ratio of the diameters? Okay, so the ratio of the diameter, basically now each one should have same tension and elongation. Okay, so basically what should happen is that, let's say here the tension is t, so this should also be t, and this should also be t. All right, and the elongation in each of them should be delta l, and here also delta l. All right, now if I if I write the Young's modulus formula for the first situation, okay, for the copper wire, then I will write T upon pi R1 square, where R1 is the radius of the copper wire, cross sectional radius of the copper wire. So T upon pi R1 square will be Y of copper, into delta L by L. Okay, and similarly if I write that for the iron wire, so that will be T upon pi R2 square, where R2 is the cross sectional radius of the iron wire. Okay, R2, that should be Y of iron into delta L by L. Okay, then what we will get, so if I divide this, okay, if I divide this, then we will get R2 square upon R1 square, that will be is equal to delta L by L will get cancelled, that will be Y copper upon Y iron. All right, so from here we get basically R2 upon R1 will be under root of Y copper upon Y iron. Okay, and the ratio of diameter will also be equal to ratio of the radius, because both. So basically, we have to find the ratio of copper to iron. That means, we have to find R1 by R2. So that will be Y of iron divided by Y of copper. So option B will be the answer to this question. All right.
Let us see this question. So basically here, if you look, there are two triangles through which we have to find the flux, and there's a charge which has been kept over here. Okay. Now see, one thing is that they have taken one triangle here, and they have taken one triangle here. All right. So, but if you understand, if you look at this triangle, so we can assume as if this triangle was here. Okay. Because like if I show you, so basically look at the top face. You can look at this face. Okay. So the idea here is that if this is the like charge which is over here, okay, and this is the y-axis, right? Now, whether you look at this triangle which I have made just now, okay, this triangle, and whether you look at this triangle which I have made now, okay, so both these triangles are exactly symmetrical with respect to the charge. Okay, so flux through these two triangles will be equal, right? So basically, look, if you go on the y-axis from the charge starting from the origin, if you go at a distance, let's say side length is L. So if you go at a distance L on the y-axis, so basically, and you can draw the triangle like this. Okay. Similarly, if you go distance L on the z-axis, then you will get a similar triangle located over here. So just that the both the triangles are in the different plane, but otherwise with respect to the field lines, they are symmetrical. So which means the flux through both these triangles, red ones, will be equal. Okay. So I'll draw this triangle over here now. Okay. So now effectively that means you have to find the flux through the top face, because this triangle was already present here. Okay. So basically we can say that now effectively you have to find the flux through the top face. Now, so what this question becomes that you have to find the flux through this top face. Okay, this is the top face, and the charge is kept below this. This is the question. All right. Let's say the side length of these face is L. Okay. Now what we can do? We can assume basically a cube of side length 2L. So let me draw here. So if you look, I'm drawing this. Basically, I'm keeping this kind of a situation. So okay, and you can draw similar structure below also. Okay, so if you understand, this whole thing will become a cube of side length 2L, and the charge q will be at the center of it. So if you look at this full face, okay, we can say the flux through this full face will be q by 6 epsilon naught, because using Gauss's law we can say the flux through the whole cube will be q by epsilon naught, and that means the flux through the top face will be 1 by 6 of it. That means q by 6 epsilon naught. Then if you look at this face, okay, which is what we want to calculate, so that will be 1 by 4th of the whole top face. So that means you have to multiply this 1 by 4. So answer will be q by 24 epsilon naught. That will be the flux through this face. Okay, so answer will be q by 24 epsilon naught.
Let us see this question. So here basically we have to find the truth table for this. So let's just solve this circuit as of now. So here if you see A is going in this AND gate, so here it will be A, and from here you will get B bar. So this is B bar. From here you can see this is A bar. So this A bar will enter here and B will come here. So output of this AND gate will be AB bar. Okay, and here the output will be A bar B. And these two things are going in the NOR gate. So basically Y will become what? AB bar plus A bar B whole complement. Okay, so now what do we have to do here? We can use De Morgan's theorem. So basically this this will break down, this complement will break down, and plus will convert to multiply. All right, now again if I apply De Morgan's theorem on this, so that will become A bar plus B bar bar. multiplied by, again if I multiply De Morgan's theorem on this, so that will be a bar bar plus b bar. All right. Now from here we can see that it will be a bar plus b multiplied by a plus b bar. Okay. Now from here we can check the output. So suppose a and b both are 0. Okay. So suppose a is 0 and b is 0. All right. So if a is 0, then this quantity a bar plus a bar will become 1. Okay. So this will become 1. All right. And b will become 0 dot a is 0 and b bar will become 1. So 1 plus 1 is 1. So answer will be 1 for this. Okay. That means 0 0 will correspond to, that means y will be equals to 1. All right. Then let's say a is 0 and b is 1. Okay, a is 0 and b is 1. So if a is 0 and b is 1, then what will happen to the y? So a bar will be, let me do here. A bar is what? A bar will be 1 and b will be 1. Okay, multiplied by a will be, a is 0 and b bar is 0. So this will be 1 into 0, so it will be 0. So here in this case y will come out to be 0. Okay, then if a is 1 and b is 0, then what will happen? If a is 1, then a bar will become how much? A bar will become 0 and b will become, b is already 0, and now irrespective of this thing, 0 into something is always 0. So again this answer will be 0. Okay, and then last is if a is 1 and b is 1. So if a is 1 and b is 1, then you can see y will be, so a bar will be what? A bar will be 0 and b will be 1 multiplied by, a will be what? A will be 1 and b bar will be 0. So 1 into 1 will be again 1. So in this case the answer will be 1. All right. So answer will be like 0 0 1, 0 1 0, 1 0 0 and 1 1 1. So option A you can see satisfies perfectly. Okay. Now here you can see the basically the we have to find the ratio of T2 by T1, and the process equation is given as PV to the power half constant. Okay, PV to the power half constant. Now we have to find the ratio T2 by T1, and volume has doubled here. So what I can do, I can write pressure as nRT by V, okay, into V to the power half constant. All right. Now moles anyway will be constant, R will be constant. So we can write this as T upon root V constant. All right. That means T1 by under root V1, that should be is equals to T2 upon under root V2. Okay. Which means T2 by T1 will be is equals to under root of V2 by V1. And V2 is 2V1. So that means this will become root 2. So answer will be option B. Here basically an electron is entering between the capacitor plates, and when it enters you can see its velocity is making an angle alpha with the horizontal direction, and when it comes out then the angle velocity that makes with the horizontal is beta. So we have to find the ratio of kinetic energies. Now very easy question, basically if you understand here, see, the force applied by the electric field will always be in the y-axis. Okay, which means that x velocity will be constant, hence v1 cos alpha will be is equals to v2 cos beta. All right. So v1 by v2 will be is equals to cos beta by cos alpha, which means if you square this equation, so v1 square by v2 square will be is equals to cos square beta upon cos square alpha. Now I can multiply half m. This becomes the kinetic energy of the electron at this location divided by kinetic energy of the electron at this location. That will be is equals to cos square beta divided by cos square alpha. Okay. So K1 by K2 will be cos square beta divided by cos square alpha. Option D will be the answer. Let's have a look at this question. So here basically an electron is experiencing this force, okay, when it has a velocity of this. All right. When the velocity changes to this value, then the force is 0. Now if you do this question very smartly, then this can be done very quickly. Look, magnetic force we know is given as, wait, here, magnetic force is given as Q into V cross B. Okay. Now if we look at the second information, magnetic force is becoming 0 for this value of velocity. Now if magnetic force has to become 0, then only way out is that velocity and like cross product should be 0, because charge on the electron is never 0. So we can say that V cross B should have been 0 here. Now when is V cross B, when will be V cross B 0? Okay, if theta will be 0 or 180 degree, these are the two possibilities. Now theta 0 implies both the vectors are parallel. Okay, like both the vectors must be parallel. Theta 180 implies both the vectors must be anti-parallel. Okay, So you can check out the options now. Look, the velocity vector. First, let's draw the velocity vector. So v vector is, now I'm ignoring this 10 to the power 7 because it will not change the direction of velocity. Okay, so this is how velocity looks. Okay, so if I draw the velocity vector on the coordinate axis, so x coordinate is 1.5 and y coordinate is basically negative. That means this kind of vector basically it will be. Okay, and what will be this angle? Tan theta. So you can see that tan theta will be this y coordinate, y coefficient is, or y component is the negative 2 divide by, so minus sign just tells it negative direction, so I'm just taking the positive magnitude of it, 2 divided by 1.5. That means this is 4 by 3. So theta will be 53 degrees. That means velocity vector is in this direction. Now let's check each option. Okay, so option A, if I talk about, okay, if I talk about the option A here, so it is minus 0.75 I cap plus 1 j cap. Okay, so that means if I check the option A, the magnetic field for the option A, how will I draw? So it is I component is negative and j component is positive. So this is how the magnetic field will look like. Okay, and what will be this direction? Let's say angle alpha. So what will be angle alpha? Tan alpha will be basically, you can see that its x component is negative and y component is positive. So zero point 0.1 upon 0.075. Okay, so this becomes how much? 1000. So no, sorry, 100 by 75. Wait, 100 by 75. If I multiply by, yes, 100 by 75, so this becomes 4 by 3. That means alpha becomes 53 degree. So you can see that this magnetic field vector is exactly opposite to the velocity vector. So A could be a possibility, but first let's check remaining. So B, option B is, now this is x component is minus zero point 0.1 and y component is 0.075. So basically, again, this kind of, let's say this angle is alpha 2. So tan alpha 2 will be 0.075 divided by zero point 0.1. So this comes out to be how much? This will be 75 upon 100. That means 3 by 4. So this is clearly alpha 2 will be 37 degrees, which is not equal, which is not be opposite to velocity vector. So that cannot be our answer. Option C clearly has a k component, so that is not possible. It cannot be parallel to A. And option D, again, you can see option D if you draw. So option D is somewhat, it is having J component as well as I component positive. So here the magnetic field is drawn like this, which cannot be parallel to velocity vector. So only allowed option is option A. Okay. So basically, you can do by option elimination itself. Okay. Otherwise, you will have to assume the velocity vector. Sorry. Otherwise, you have to assume the magnetic field vector and then use the both information. That will be long way. This is a very quick way of doing this question. All right. So in this question, the hydrogen atom was initially in the ground state and it absorbs a photon of 980. So eventually it will reach in the higher state and we have to find the Bohr radius of that orbit. So see, first of all, let us find the energy of this photon. So energy of this photon, you can say is 12500 because they have asked us to use this relation in the electron volt divided by 980. Now, if you do this math, this will come out to be nearly 12.75 approximate value. We will get this. So this is the energy of this photon. All right. Now, if you try to recall the energy of the hydrogen atom, so even for the hydrogen atom is minus 13.6 electron volt, right? E2, if you remember, it is minus 13.6 by 4, which is nothing but minus 3 point, how much? 4 electron volt. Okay. Then E3, if we talk about minus 13.6 by 9, that value. So this is the energy of the third orbit, which comes out to be minus 1.51 electron volt. E4, E4 is minus 13.6 divided by 16, and this value is minus 0.85 electron volt. Now, if you see the difference between E1 and E4, check E4 minus E1. So if I do E4 minus E1, so that is minus 0.85 minus 13.6. So this value is 12.75 electron volt, and hence we can say that hydrogen atom would have excited to the fourth state. Okay. Now the radius formula. Okay, radius formula we know is n square by z. Okay. So r is equals to r square, r is equals to n square by z into r naught. So here the radius, Bohr radius is a naught. So basically I can write here a naught. A naught means the radius of the Bohr's orbit in the ground state. So in the fourth state, n will be 4, z will be 1 for hydrogen. So that will be 16 a naught. So option C will be the correct answer for this question. So here in this question, what is happening? The body is falling on the ground from the height h1 and it rebounds till height h2. Now question also says that ratio of the velocity of the body just before and just after hitting the ground is 4. That means if the ball hits the ground with the speed 4v, let us say, so it rebounds at the speed v. This is what the question is saying, and the question is asking the percentage loss in the kinetic energy. Now see, when the body hits the ground, okay, so what was the kinetic energy? Let me call that as k1. That will be half into m into 4v square. This is the kinetic energy with which the ball hits. Okay, and what is the kinetic energy with which ball rebounds? So that will be half into m into v square. So this will be the loss in the kinetic energy when the ball hits the ground. All right. So we can say that what is the loss? So that will be k1 minus k2. That means 4 4 is 16 by 2, 8 mv square minus 0.5 mv square. That means the loss is 7.5 mv square. Okay, this is the loss in the kinetic energy. So we have to convert that into percentage. So how will you find percentage loss? That will be loss upon initial value. So 7.5 mv square divided by 8 mv square. Okay, basically this value is 8 mv square. Okay, and this is the fractional loss multiplied by 100 will give you you can say percentage loss. Now this value has been called x by 4 in the question. Okay, so basically mv square will get cancelled. This 4 will make it 2. That will be 750 divided by 2. That means x will be 375. All right. Now in this question, basically there is a 600 picofarad capacitor which is charged to 200 volt supply. For now, let's call this capacitance as C and the voltage as V. So basically this capacitor is C and it has been charged to V voltage. All right. Now, so how much charge definitely it will get? So this will get charge CV. Okay. Now what we are doing, we are detaching this capacitor and we are connecting this capacitor with another identical capacitor. Okay. Now look, both the capacitors are in parallel. That means they have same potential difference, and also they have equal capacitance. So this means that they will get equal charge. So the charge which was earlier present entirely with the first capacitor will be distributed equally in both. So each capacitor will get q by 2 q by 2, right? Now what was the energy here when the capacitor was connected? Only this capacitor was connected, so that will be half cv square. Whereas now the energy finally you can write for both the capacitors as using the formula q square by 2c. So charge is q by 2, so square, charge is square upon 2 into capacitance. This is the energy with one capacitor, and since we have both capacitors, I mean both two capacitors are there, so basically you have to multiply by 2. Now what is the loss in the energy? So loss in the energy is u1 minus u2. That means half cv square minus this you can see becomes q square by 4c. Value of q is already known to us, so that value you can put here. So if you put q as cv here, so this will become c square v square by 4c. So this expression becomes half cv square minus cv square by 4, which is nothing but cv square by 4. So now we can just put the value to find the loss basically. So c is how much? 600 pico. Pico means 10 to the power minus 12. Okay, v is 200 into 200 divided by 4. Okay, 6 zeros, that means this will become 10 to the power minus 6. 6 to the 12 to the 24 by 4 means 6. So 6 into the power minus 6 joules, that means 6 microjoules. 6 microjoules will be the correct answer. This is an oscillating LC circuit. So here we have an inductor, okay, and we have a capacitor. Okay, now the maximum charge on the capacitor is this, and we have to find the maximum current. Very easy question. So when the charge was maximum, then the entire energy, which is nothing but q square by 2c, will be with the capacitor, and this entire energy will go in the inductor when the current is maximum. So you can see whatever is the energy stored in the capacitor will become energy of the inductor when the current becomes maximum. So from here we can very well find the value of I. So I square is nothing but q square by cl. Okay, now what is the value of q? Q is 2.7 micro coulombs. That means 2.7 into 2.7 into 10 to the power minus 12 it will become. And c is 1.5 1.2 microfarad, so that will 10 to the power minus 6. And 75 millihenry, so 75 into 10 to the power minus 3. Now we can do the calculations. So this and this will make it 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, if I multiply with the 100 above and 100 below, so that will become 27 into 27 into 10 to the power minus 3 divided by 120 into 75. All right, now basically look, this will become 3 into 9. This will become 3 into 25. This will become 3 into 9. This will become how much? 3 into 40. Okay, so we have 9 into 9 into 10 to the power minus 3 upon 25 into 4 into 10. Okay, this 10 you can take upwards. Okay, so this will become 10 to the power minus 4. So let me write here 10 to the power minus 4 and I will cancel this. Okay, this is the value of I square. Okay, so if we are getting the value of I square as this, so what is the value of I? I will be under root of this value, 9 into 9 into 10 to the power minus 4 upon 25 into 4. So that means this will be 9 into 10 to the power minus 2 upon 5 into 2. Okay, so that means 9 into 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. That means 9 milliampere. So option, that answer will be 9. Let's look at this question. So here basically we have a tube, a horizontal tube in which the liquid is flowing, right? Now see, ideally if you think, just visualize the motion of this liquid. So in the top half, okay, so I'm just considering the liquid from here to here. So if you just visualize, so this entire liquid will be moving in a semicircular motion. I mean, it is performing circular motion only, but I'm considering the top half. Okay, so this entire liquid is flowing like this. Okay, this is how it is flowing. So now visualize the motion of the center of mass of this top half. So the center of mass is at a distance of 2r by pi. All right. So if you just look at this top semicircular section of the fluid, okay, so let's first find the mass of that semi-section. Okay, let's first find the mass of this semi-section. Okay, semicircular region. So mass becomes cross-sectional area, which is pi d square by 4 into the circumference, which is pi r. I mean, circumference means perimeter of the top half. So that will be pi r. Okay, this is the volume multiplied by density. So this becomes the mass of this. And if you think carefully, so this entire liquid is moving in a semicircle. This entire liquid is moving in a semicircle of radius 2r by pi. Okay, so if I write the force equation, okay, if I write the force equation, so 2t, okay, net force on this is 2t, external force in the y-axis, will be is equals to mass into acceleration of center of mass. So center of mass will be moving in a circular motion of radius 2r by pi. So m omega square into 2r by pi. So basically net external force is mass into acceleration of center of mass. So I have written the force equation on the top half. So that means 2t will be is equals to, now this 2 and 2 will get cancelled. Okay, so basically you can remove this 2 here. So t becomes m, which is pi d square by 4 into pi r into rho. Omega you can write v by r, so that will become v square by r square into r by pi. All right, now from here we can just do the calculations. 1 pi will get cancelled, r square will get completely cancelled. So we have pi d square rho v square, okay, divided by 4. So if you compare with the given expression, this eta is nothing but 4. So here basically there is a body whose temperature goes from 52 to 36. So let's say this is the body. Okay, so I will use Newton's average form of Newton's law of cooling, which says delta T by delta T is equals to minus cooling constant into T average minus T surrounding. So temperature falls from 52 till 36. That means the loss in temperature is 36 minus 52 divided by time is 10 minutes. So I will keep this in minutes itself. That will be minus cooling constant. The average temperature for these two values will be how much? That will be 44, I guess. Yes, it will be 44. The average of these two values will be 44 minus surrounding temperature is 20. All right. Now question is asking after next 10 minutes what will be the temperature. So right now the temperature has become 36. Let us say the final temperature becomes T. So from 36 it has fallen to T. So again if I apply the average form, so you will write T minus 36, final temperature minus initial temperature, divide by time, again is 10 minutes, that will be is equals to minus cooling constant. Average of T and 36 will be T plus 36 by 2 minus surrounding temperature. Okay. Now if I take the ratio of these two equations, okay, if I take the ratio, so 10 minutes will get cancelled, minus a will get cancelled. Here this will be minus 16 upon this will be T minus 36. That will be 44 minus 20 is how much? 24 divided by T by 2 36 by 2 is 18 minus 20. So that means minus 2. So if we cross multiply, before that you can write this as 2 and 3. Now if you cross multiply, so that will be minus 2 into t by 2 minus 2. That will be 3 into t minus 36. So that means this becomes minus t plus 4 is equals to 3t minus 108. So 4t will be is equals to 112. That means t will be equals to 28. So 28 will be the answer to this question. Thank you.
Hi everyone. In this question, we are given a compound A which has the molecular formula of C6H6O and it gives violet coloration with neutral ferric chloride test. This compound on reaction with chloroform and KOH followed by hydrolysis gives another compound B which can be prepared from even another compound C by reaction with PCC, which is pyridinium chlorochromate, which is a moderately strong oxidizing agent. We have to find out the correct option for A, B and C. Now, the compound A is revealed by the first statement itself. The molecular formula is given as C6H6O and the compound gives violet coloration with neutral ferric chloride, which means that the compound could be a phenol, and this molecular formula fits phenol. And in the three options as well, we can see that all compounds have a benzene ring, which means that we can be confident enough that the compound A itself is phenol, that is benzenol. Now this is our compound A. This compound on reaction with chloroform and KOH followed by hydrolysis gives B. Hydrolysis, let's say this. Now this is a very famous reaction which is called Rimmer-Timmer reaction, which is an example of formylation reaction where we react a phenol compound with chloroform and KOH followed by hydrolysis. We have formyl group coming on ortho position, which is the major product. So the compound B should be this benzene, OH and CHO group at ortho position, which is salicylaldehyde. And in the given options, we can see that option A cannot be the correct answer because it is CH2OH. Option B also cannot be the correct answer because it is a carboxylic group. Option C is likely to be a correct answer because yes, that is the major product, salicylaldehyde, and option D also cannot be the major product. But let's check whether option C is completely correct or not, whether this compound is correct or not. Okay, so the last statement of the question says that on reaction with chloroform and KOH followed by hydrolysis gives P, which is our salicylaldehyde, which can also be prepared from C by PCC. So this is our compound C. When we react this molecule with PCC, pyridinium chlorochromate, which is a moderately strong oxidizing agent, then this primary alcohol group is oxidized to CHO. So let me just scroll it up so that it's visible. So yes, so when this molecule is reacted with PCC, then actually the correct product is this, right? This CH2OH is oxidized to CHO, which indeed is molecule B, right? So yes, molecule C on reaction with PCC indeed produces molecule B. So the correct answer for these correct structures of these compounds is option C. That is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we are given 4 reagents and we have to find out that reaction with which of these reagents of a carbonyl compound is an example of nucleophilic addition elimination reaction. So let's read the question. Reaction of a carbonyl compound. A carbonyl compound is a compound that contains this functional group, carbon bonded to oxygen through a double bond. So reaction of a carbonyl compound which one of the following reagents involves nucleophilic addition followed by elimination of water. So that reagent is hydrocyanic acid is HCN and it adds as H plus and Cn minus. So please remember that aldehydes and ketones react with nucleophiles and the typical reactions are nucleophilic addition reactions. But when a derivative of ammonia reacts, right? So let's call them NH2Z, where Z could be a number of groups depending upon the nucleophile. For example, if Z is hydrogen, the nucleophile is ammonia. So when aldehydes and ketones react with ammonia or derivatives of ammonia, then such a reaction is nucleophilic addition followed by elimination. So let's analyze these options one by one. In case of hydrocyanic acid, this HCN will add across carbon double bond oxygen and the product would be cyanohydrin, an important class of compounds. So this is a nucleophilic addition. There is no elimination here. Sodium hydrogen sulfide is NaHSO3. This reaction is mainly used for purification and characterization of aldehydes and ketones. So when a molecule of sodium hydrogen sulfide reacts with a carbonyl group, an aldehyde or ketone, right? So basically this is the product, right? Technically the product would be this, right? So this is again a nucleophilic addition. Grignard reagents are very strong nucleophiles. They provide carbon ions, and addition of a Grignard reagent to a carbonyl group is leading to this product. So again, this is an example of nucleophilic addition. But if we look at the fourth option, hydrazine, which seems to be the correct answer here, hydrazine is NH2, NH2. So there are two nucleophilic nitrogen atom. When a molecule of hydrazine attacks carbonyl group, the first intermediate that is formed is this. So until this point, the reaction that is taking place is nucleophilic addition. Now from this intermediate, elimination of water is favorable. So what happens here is that this OH is lost and this H is lost. A molecule of water is lost. So this is carbon, double bond nitrogen and NH2. So what we get indeed here is called a hydrazone, right? The nucleophilic addition elimination product of the reaction between hydrazine and an aldehyde or ketone is called hydrazone, which we can clearly see is a condensation product, because first a molecule of hydrazine added to the carbonyl group and then this was followed by elimination of water molecule. So yes, the correct answer here is option D. Thank you. Hi everyone. This question is based on osmotic pressure, which is an example of a correlative property. In this question, we have to find out the molecular weight of a compound. Given the information that a 5% solution of sucrose, which is C12H22O11, is isotonic. What is the meaning of isotonic? If two solutions are isotonic, which means they have the same osmotic pressure pi. So there is a 5% solution of sucrose that has the same osmotic pressure as 1% solution of another compound, which we don't know, right? Let's call it X here. So we have to find out the molecular weight. Now in this question, sucrose, we already know that it is a non-electrolyte substance. It is non-electrolytic. It does not dissociate to produce ions in water. Since no information is given about compound X as to whether it undergoes association or dissociation, we will assume compound X to be a non-electrolyte as well. Now, as per the equation of osmotic pressure, pi is equal to I CRT, where I is the Van 't Hoff factor, which is only significant if the solute is an electrolyte. C is the molar concentration, so effectively it is molarity. R is a universal gas constant and T is the temperature in Kelvin. Given the information in this question, right, we will assume the temperature is also same, so that will cancel. R will cancel and Van 't Hoff factor will be 1 because both solutes are non-electrolyte. So we can say that if for two solutions the osmotic pressures are same, right, then the right hand side of the equation should also be same. Now I is 1, R and T will already be same. So it is the molar concentration actually that has to be equal to, which means that the concentration of the sucrose compound would be equal to the concentration of the compound X. Now concentration is molarity here, and molarity is number of moles divided by volume. The solution is 5% in sucrose and 1% in compound X, the two solutions. Because these solutions are dilute, so we can assume that 5 gram of sugar is dissolved in 100 ml of solution, right? So we can assume the volume of the solution to be 100 in either case. So for sucrose, molarity is number of moles by volume. Number of moles is mass upon molar mass. The molar mass of sucrose you can calculate, C12H22O11, it will be 342 gram per mole. And volume of the solution, because it is percentage, we can assume that the volume of the solution is 100 ml. No need to convert into the proper appropriate units because, you know, these things will cancel out on two sides of the equation. For example, in compound X here, the solution is 1%, which means that we have 1 gram of compound, and let's say the molar mass of the compound is M, and it is 1% solution. So we can assume that the volume of the solution is 100 ml. So this will cancel. All right. So it's very simple. The calculation now, the molar mass of the compound would be 342 divided by 5. So which would be 68.4 gram per mole. So the correct answer here would be option B. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we are given the reduction potentials of two redox couples and we have to find out the reduction potential of another redox couple. So these questions are solved by using the formula that connects Gibbs energy with electrode potential, which is delta G naught is minus NF E naught. So for a redox couple, its Gibbs energy and the reduction potential are related by this formula. So the equation that we need is Au plus to Au3 plus, which means that Au plus takes 2 electrons and it converts to Au plus 3. Now we can see that Au plus has to be on the reactant side, which means that I'm going to take the first equation as it is. Au plus plus electron gives us gold, and its Gibbs energy would be delta G1, let's call it, minus there is just one electron multiplied by Faraday constant multiplied by the reduction potential, which is 1.69 volt. Now I need gold 3 plus on the product side, which means that I will revert this equation. This equation says that gold 3 plus Au3 plus 3 electron gives gold, but we will reverse this equation and we will write it like this. Au gives Au3 plus 3 electron, and here delta G naught would be minus, there are 3 electrons multiplied by Faraday constant. Now the reduction potential for Au3 plus slash Au couple is 1.40, but I'm writing the oxidation reaction, gold getting oxidized to Au3 plus. So the potential will change its sign, which means that the value would be minus 1.40. Now if we add these two equations, then we get this equation that Au plus gives us Au plus 3 and releasing 2 electrons. So this is the redox couple corresponding to which we need the electrode potential E naught. Au plus gives Au3 plus. So now here Gibbs energy would be minus NFE again. So it would be minus number of electrons are 2 multiplied by Faraday constant multiplied by E naught. That would be our answer. Now we can see that this equation has been formed by the addition of these two equations. So the corresponding Gibbs energy would also be the sum of these two energies, which means that minus 1.69 F and minus this will become plus, and this would be 4.2 Farad, right? So this will cancel out and we would have E naught. This is 4.2 minus 1.69, 4.2 minus 1.69 and divided by 2. So we can see here that E naught would be 4.2 minus 1.69, which would be 2.51 divided by 2. So it would be minus 1.255 volt. So option D would be the correct answer to this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. This question is based on the Arrhenius equation that gives us temperature dependence of reaction rate. In this question, we are given that a hydrogenation reaction is carried out at 500 Kelvin. So the initial temperature is 500 Kelvin. If the same reaction is carried out in the presence of the catalyst at the same rate. So if the reaction is the same rate, we will assume that the rate constant is also same. The temperature required is 400 Kelvin. Calculate the activation energy of the reaction if the catalyst lowers the activation energy barrier by 30 kilojoule per mole. So the important point here is that the reaction rate is same with and without catalyst. Although catalyst is speeding up the reaction rate, but in the presence of catalyst, the reaction is being carried out at low temperature. So as I said, that we will assume the rate constant is also same. So rate constant for catalyzed reaction would be equal to the rate constant for uncatalyzed reaction. Now, as per the Arrhenius equation, K is equal to A e raised to the power minus EA by RT. And if we convert this equation into the logarithmic form to the base 10, log K would be equal to log A and minus EA divided by 2.303 RT. So because the two rate constants are same, the right hand side of the equation should also be same, right? Now again, there's an assumption that with and without catalyst, the Arrhenius factor that gives us the number of collisions irrespective of their energy should also be same, right? So if log of K, if K are equal, log of K must be equal, then the right hand side must be equal. And in right hand side, we can see that we can write log A minus the activation energy in the presence of catalyst is 30 kilojoule lower. So we can write that E minus 30, right? If E is the activation energy of the reaction originally, the activation energy in the presence of catalyst would be E minus 30. So this would be divided by 2.303 R. And what is the temperature? When the reaction was being catalyzed, then the temperature of the reaction required was 400 Kelvin. So this was 400. This is equal to log A, although which is cancelling out here. minus E, which is the original activation energy in the presence of in the absence of catalyst, divided by 2.303 R multiplied by temperature. When the catalyst was not being used, then the temperature was 500 Kelvin. So now this is very simple. We will cancel out log A, we will cancel out minus, we will cancel out 2.303 R. In fact, we can also cancel out these two zeros actually. So what is left behind, what we are left behind here is E minus 30 divided by 4 should be equal to E divided by 5. Okay, please note that everything else is cancelling out. So now we need to just solve this simple equation, which would be 5E minus 150 would be equal to 4E, and this can be written as 5E minus 4E would be equal to plus 150, and which would be equal to 150. So the activation energy of the reaction should be 150 kilojoule per mole. So that should be the correct answer to this question. That is option C. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out the major product in the reaction sequence that is given below. So the molecule is a halorine. It has a chlorine atom on one of the carbon atoms and bromine atom joined to another carbon of the benzene ring. Although we know that in the formation of Grignard reagent, haloalkanes are more reactive than halorines, and in fact CBr bond would be more reactive than CCl bond, but no information is given about the relative amounts of the reactants, which means that we will assume that both these carbon halogen bond would undergo Grignard reagent formation. So let's look at the first reagent, which is magnesium metal in the presence of diethyl ether. So when we react a haloalkane or a halorine with Mg metal in the presence of dry ether, the product is a Grignard reagent. So in the first reaction, the intermediate should be this one. So this should be MgBr and this should be MgCl. Now what happens, one important thing happens here is that the carbon joined to these MgBr, MgCl, now they have become nucleophilic. So now they have delta negative charge, now they are carbanions. Next, we are reacting this Grignard reagent with CH2O, which has to be formaldehyde, this. And once again, no information is given as to how much formaldehyde is there, 1 equivalent, 2 equivalent. So we'll assume that there is enough formaldehyde to react with all the reaction sites here. So we know that the addition of Grignard reagent on formaldehyde, which is an aldehyde, is an example of nucleophilic addition reaction. So for example, this carbon here, it's going to attack here. The pi bond is going to break. So, and the same reaction will happen with this carbon here. So the next intermediate that we should obtain here is this carbon, right here, which is a formaldehyde carbon, CH2 and O minus, and you could write here MgBr plus. The same thing is going to happen to this carbon. This carbon will attack on this carbonyl carbon of formaldehyde. So there will be a formation of carbon-carbon bond. So CH2, O minus, and this you could write as MgCl plus. Okay, so now this is the intermediate. In the next step, final step, we are doing the acidification, H3O plus, right? So when we add some acid here, right, acidification will finally produce the primary alcohol, right? So what we are getting here is CH2OH, and this will also give us CH2H. So this is worth remembering that when Grignard reagents react with formaldehyde, the product is a primary alcohol. Similarly, when Grignard reagents react with any other aldehyde, the product is a secondary alcohol, and a tertiary alcohol is formed when Grignard reagents react with any ketone. So the product that we have obtained here is this, and let us see which of these could be the correct answer. Not definitely option A, not definitely option B, and not option C. So yes, it's got to be the final last option, option D, which is the correct answer in this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out that which of the given statements is correct. First statement is starch is a polymer of alpha glucose. Yes, this is correct. Glucose exists in two anomeric forms, alpha and beta, and starch is a polymer of alpha glucose. So basically, starch contains two types of polymeric chains, amylose and amylopectin. So statement 1 is correct. Let us see the other three options. Option B says that amylose is a component of cellulose, which is obviously incorrect because amylose makes up starch, not cellulose. So this statement is incorrect. Statement C says that proteins are composed of only one type of amino acid, which is also an incorrect statement because Most proteins are composed of the naturally occurring 20 types of amino acids. So this statement is incorrect. In the last option D, it says that in the cyclic structure of furanose, there are 5 carbon atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So furanose means this structure is based on furan, and furan is a 5-membered heterocyclic aromatic compound, which here we can obviously see that it contains 4 carbon atoms and 1 oxygen atom and not 5 carbon atoms and 1 oxygen atom, because that would be 6-membered ring, and those structures of carbohydrates are called pyranose because they are based on pyran. So statement D is also incorrect. Hence statement A is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. This question is based on the quantitative estimation of halogens. In the question, it is given that in Carrier's method of estimation of halogen, 0.5 gram of an organic compound gave 0.564 gram of AgBr. So we have to calculate what is the percentage of bromine present in the organic compound. Now, what happens in Carrier's method is that we are given, let's say, X gram compound, and there is a special hard glass tube which is called Carrier's tube. In that tube, we put this compound, fuming nitric acid and silver nitrate, and we heat the mixture strongly, and if there is bromine present in the compound, it is converted to AgBr. So all the bromine present in the compound precipitates as AgBr. So now if we apply unitary method on this, the molar mass of bromine is 80 gram per mole. It is given in the question. And the molar mass of AgBr would be 108 plus 80, which would be 188 gram per mole. All right. So now applying unitary method, 1 mole AgBr would have come from 1 mole Br. Substituting masses, 188 gram of AgBr should come from 80 gram of Br. But in the question, it is mentioned that the amount of AgBr obtained in the experiment is 0.564. So 0.564 gram of AgBr must have come from 80 divided by 188 multiplied by 0.564 gram bromine. Now, if we do this calculation, this is simple, right? So this is 0.24 gram Br. So the amount of Br, that is bromine, present in the compound is 0.24, but the mass of the organic compound was 0.5. So the percentage of bromine in the given compound would be the mass of bromine, which we have just seen is 0.24, divided by the mass of compound, which is 0.5 gram, multiplied by 100. So this will be 24 divided by 0.5, or which is 48%. So the amount of bromine present in the organic compound expressed as mass percentage is 48. So option D is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out a diamagnetic complex that has 2 geometrical and 4 optically active isomers. So let us look at the first complex. GLY is short for glycinato, which is this ligand. It has 2 donor atoms of different elements. One is nitrogen, another is oxygen. And because there are 3 glycinato ligands, the total coordination number of this complex is 6, which means that it has got to be octahedral. Now let us try to draw the structures of these isomers. We have to arrange the 6 donor atoms around this cobalt. So we can put 1 nitrogen here, an oxygen here, right? And we can just write the abbreviation GLY, that is a short way of writing these chelating ligands here, okay? Then we can put another nitrogen here, an oxygen here. So this would be another chelating ligand, and this would be the third and the last chelating ligand. So as we can see that all the 3 nitrogen atoms as well as all the 3 oxygen atoms are cis, right? No 2 nitrogens are opposite and no 2 oxygens are opposite. And also this complex does not have any plane of symmetry or center of symmetry. So this is optically active as well. Now let us try to draw the other isomer. Now what we can do, we can take 1 nitrogen here and oxygen here. So this is GLY, and another nitrogen and oxygen we can put like this. This would be GLY. And now we can put like 1 nitrogen here and 1 oxygen here. So this would be GLY. In this isomer, we can see that 2 nitrogens are opposite, that is they are trans with respect to each other, as well as 2 of the 3 oxygen atoms are placed at 180 degree, which means that is trans. Also, this complex does not have any plane of symmetry. You can see that. So this will also be optically active. So this complex has two geometrical isomers, tick, and because both geometrical isomers do not have symmetry, plane of symmetry or center of symmetry, so each geometrical isomer will exist as a pair of enantiomers. So the total number of optically active isomers would be 4. So this condition is met and this condition is met. Let's check whether it is diamagnetic or not. Glycinate is a monoanionic ligand, which means that the oxidation number of cobalt should be +3. Now in elemental state, cobalt is 3d7 4s2, which means that after losing 3 electrons, it becomes 3d6. Now because glycinate is a strong ligand, it acts as a strong field ligand, so the 6 electrons in the 3d subshell of cobalt would be paired, leaving the 2 remaining d orbitals available for hybridization, because of which the hybridization would be d2sp3. So yes, because there is no unpaired electron, this complex would be diamagnetic. Hence this should be a correct answer. Let us look at the other options. In second option, we have PtEN2Cl2. Now we know that PtEN2Cl2 has two geometrical isomers. The two chlorine atoms could be cis or trans with respect to each other, but it will not show 4 optically active isomers, right? Because the trans form has a plane of symmetry here. So this is the structure of the trans isomer of this complex. So you can clearly see that there is a plane of symmetry that cuts this molecule, right? The left half and the right half, they are identical. So it has only 2 optically active isomers. The cis form exists as a pair of enantiomers. So this cannot be the correct answer. In option C and D, we cannot have geometrical isomerism because we have 3 symmetrical bidentate ligands. In EN3, there are 6 nitrogen donor atoms. No way geometrical isomerism will exist. In the complex D, OX is short for oxygen. Again, it's a symmetrical bidentate ligand, so both donor atoms are of the same element, that is oxygen, so no geometrical isomerism will exist. The correct answer to this question would be your option A. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we are given 4 structures which are labeled as P, Q, R, and S, and we have to tell that which of the given statements is not correct. So we can solve this question by finding out the configuration of the chiral carbon in each molecule. So first of all, let us verify that all these 4 structures are of the same compound. So each structure has 1 chlorine, 1 bromine, 1 methyl, and 1 ethyl group. So that is true for all structures. Now we can find out in this Fisher projections, we can find out the configuration of the chiral carbon by using CIP rules, which are Can, Ingold, and Trilog rules. So because out of methyl, ethyl, chlorine, and bromine, bromine has the highest atomic number, it will get the first priority, number 1. Chlorine has the second highest atomic number, this will get number 2. And methyl and ethyl, out of these 2 groups, ethyl will have higher priority, right? Because in ethyl, the carbon is joined to 1 carbon and 2 hydrogen, but in methyl, the carbon is joined to 3 hydrogen atoms. So this should be our number 3 substituent in the priority order. This should be the least priority order. So we can give these priority to all of them. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and similarly 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we have to check that which of these are identical and which of these are not, which of these are related as enantiomers. So we will find out the absolute configuration, which is R and S, capital R and capital S. Let us look at the molecule P. Now in Fisher projection, if you want to find out the configuration of a chiral carbon, absolute configuration of a chiral carbon, then the least priority group, which is 4, must be on the vertical line. In 3D representation sense, it must point away from the observer. So in the first structure, yes, that is correct. The least priority group 4 is away from us. So let us look at the direction in which 1, 2, 3 fall. So we can see that 1, 2, 3, right? So this is anti-clockwise direction. So the configuration would be S. So the molecule P has S configuration. The configuration of the chiral carbon is S. Let us look at the second molecule Q. Again, good for us. The least priority group is on the vertical line, that is 4. Again, we can just look at the direction in which the 1, 2, 3 groups lie. So 1, 2, and 3. So these 3 groups lie in the clockwise order, clockwise direction. So this chiral carbon should have R configuration. About R, the 4 is on the horizontal line. So we have to bring it on the vertical line. This can be done in one of the ways, like this. We exchange 2 pairs of substituents, because exchanging 1 pair gives the enantiomer, but exchanging the another pair cancels out its effect. So now what happens? We bring 4 here, 3 on this position, and 1 here, and 2 here. So 1, 2, 3, right? It lies in clockwise direction. So this is R. Okay, and finally S, again we can exchange these 2 pairs of groups, right? So this would be 4 here, and this would be 1, and this would be 2 here, and this would be 3. So 1, 2, 3, right? So again it lies in clockwise direction, so that is R. Now let us check the validity of the 4 options. Q and R are identical. Q is R and R is also R. So yes, this is identical. This is correct statement, but the question asks which of the statements is not correct, right? So this is correct statement, but not the correct answer. P and Q are enantiomers. P has S configuration and Q has R configuration. So definitely they're enantiomers. If a molecule has one chiral carbon, R and S, they are enantiomers of each other. So P and Q, yes, they are enantiomers of each other. Correct statement, but not the correct answer. P and R are enantiomers. P is S and R is R. Again, they are related as non-superimposable mirror images. Correct statement, but not the correct answer. Q and S are enantiomers. Q is R and S is also R. So they have the same configuration. So they, in fact, they're identical molecules, right? So they are actually the same isomers. So this statement is incorrect and hence our correct answer. So Q and S, they both have the same configuration of the chiral carbon. They are not enantiomers. So that is the correct answer for this question, option D. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out the structure of the product X, which is obtained by heating this molecule in presence of sulfuric acid. So this reaction is an example of dienone phenol rearrangement, where a compound that contains two carbon-carbon double bonds and one carbon double bond oxygen in a six-membered cyclic compound rearranges to a phenolic derivative in the acidic medium. So the reaction starts at this oxygen here, which is a Lewis base, and we have H2SO4 that provides H plus, which is a Lewis acid. So first of all, oxygen undergoes protonation, which we can show like this. Now, because of this protonation, oxygen gets a positive charge. So we have to shift this pi bond here. Oxygen pulls this pi electron pair to neutralize its positive charge, but that leaves a positive charge on the carbon atom to which oxygen was joined. Then we can shift this pi bond towards this carbon to neutralize its positive charge. And as a result, now what structure do we get? The positive charge migrates to third position. So we have this OH here with single bond. This pi bond migrated. So now the pi bond is here. And the positive charge has finally come here, right, on the third carbon with respect to OH. Now we can see that there is a positive charge on this carbon. On an adjacent carbon, we have an OH group and a methyl group. So methyl group can migrate because then the positive charge would be stabilized by back bonding with OH group. So in the next step, what happens is simple 1,2 methyl shift. After this 1,2 methyl shift, we have this structure. Methyl migrates here and then OH is here. So positive charge now migrates to C2 with respect to the positive charge before. So now this is the structure. So we can see that because of this mesomeric effect, so this carbocation is highly stable. Now, ultimately, this has to lose a proton, right? Because we will not lose a proton from oxygen because that would leave this ring aromatic, right? So what happens is that one hydrogen is deprotonated, this molecule, right? So this hydrogen leaves as H plus, and what we have here is this compound. All right, so this compound is the final product, which is a phenol derivative. So this is not option A, this is not option B, not option C. Yes, this is definitely option D. So this is our correct answer, which is option D. Okay, so please remember in this, once this carbon has positive charge, right? So another way could have been that this carbon could have turned into carbonyl group and deprotonation could have occurred, but that would have made this six-membered ring non-aromatic. So a better way is to make it aromatic by losing the hydrogen from C2 with respect to this positive charge and not from the OH group. So option D is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out the correct order of solubility of these salts given their KSPs. For AgCl, the solubility product constant can be written as S square because it gives one cation and one anion. The value of KSP is 1.7 into 10 raised to the power minus 10. And when we take the square root both sides, then the solubility of AgCl comes out to be approximately 1.3 because the square of 1.3 is 1.69, approximately 1.7. And this comes out to be 10 to the minus 5 molar. For Ag2CO3, it is a 2:1 salt. It gives 2 cations and 1 anion. So it would be 2 raised to the power 2, which is 4s cube. It's equal to 8.4 into 10 raised to the power minus 12. When we solve this, solubility of this silver carbonate compound, it comes out to be 2.1 into 10 raised to the power minus 12 raised to the power 1 by 3, that is cube root, right? So this also approximately comes out to be 1.3. The cube root of 2.1 is approximately 1.3 into 10 raised to the power minus 4 molar. For the last salt, which is silver phosphate, the KSP can be written as, it gives 3 cations, right? So it would be 3 raised to the power 3, which is 27, s raised to the power 4, total number of cations and anions is equal to 2.7 into 10 raised to the power minus 18. So I can write this as 270 into 10 raised to the power minus 20. And when we solve this, then this comes out to be 270 into 10 raised to the power minus 20 divided by 27 raised to the power 1 by 4. So this would be 10, that is 10 raised to the power 1 by 4 multiplied by 10 raised to the minus 5 molar. So 10 to the power 1 by 4 is a little tricky, right? So this would come out to be approximately 1.8 into 10 raised to the power minus 5 molar. So we can see that the maximum solubility is for silver carbonate because it is of the order of 10 to the minus 4, right? So silver carbonate, maximum solubility. Out of that, for silver chloride and silver phosphate, the solubilities respectively are 1.3 into 10 to the minus 5 and 1.8 into 10 to the minus 5, which means that silver phosphate is a little bit more soluble than silver chloride. Silver chloride has the least solubility. In fact, so we can tell that option D is the correct answer because only in option D, in fact, AgCl is at the last. So that is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out the set that shows inert pair effect. So inert pair effect we observe in p block elements which have the general outer electronic configuration ns2 np126. So just before p block we have the filling of d and f orbitals which offer poor shielding effect, because of which effective nuclear charge increases and the valence shell s electron pair becomes more tightly bound. As a result, the tendency of this s electron pair in p block elements to participate in chemical reactions decreases. As a result, the oxidation state also decreases by 2. For example, in group 14 elements, the electronic configuration is ns2 np2. So we might expect that all of these elements will exhibit an oxidation state of +4. But as we move down the group, because of the increased reluctance of s electron pair, which is attributed to inert pair effect, the tendency of s electrons to participate in reaction decreases. And as we move down the group, +2 state becomes more stable, and in fact, +4 state becomes oxidizing. So iron, cobalt, and nickel, they are not p block elements. They are transition elements. Bromine, iodine, and astatine. Here we can have inert pair effect, but these are almost group 17. So the effect of the increased effective nuclear charge until group 17, it wears off. It is not very much there. Okay, so this is also not the most appropriate answer. In option C, we are given germanium, tin, and lead. So these are group 14 elements. They are carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, and lead. So we know that for lead, +2 state is more stable than +4 because of the inert pair effect, whereas tin, +4 state is more stable than +2 state. So this is definitely the most appropriate triad of elements that show inert pair effect, right? Lead particularly has more stable +2 oxidation state. Helium, neon, and argon, they are noble gases. They anyway do not react much, right? So that also is ruled out. This option is also ruled out. So the set that shows inert pair effect, the most appropriate answer is option C. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, the de Broglie wavelength of the electron in nth Bohr orbit of hydrogenic atom is given as 1.5 a0, and we have to find out the value of n by z. N is the principal quantum number and z is the atomic number of the species. So we know the condition 2 pi r is equal to n lambda is applicable if we assume that electron revolves in a circular orbit and that it shows wave nature. So electron should form a standing wave, and as a result, the circumference of the orbit should be an integral multiple of the de Broglie wavelength of the electron. Now the radius of the nth orbit as per Bohr model is given by this formula, a naught n square by z, where a naught is Bohr radius as mentioned in the question, and n and z are orbit number and atomic number respectively. So n and n is cancelled out, so we have to find out the value of n by z. So n by z is equal to lambda divided by 2 pi a naught. But in the question it is mentioned that the de Broglie wavelength itself is 1.5 pi a naught. So dividing it by 2 pi a naught, pi a naught is cancelled, and 1.5 divided by 2 equals 0.75. So the value of n by z is 0.75. This is the correct answer, option B. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have n mole of PCl3 and n mole of Cl2 reacting at constant temperature T to have a total equilibrium pressure capital P as per this equation. And it is given that if y mole of PCl5 is formed at equilibrium, then what is the expression for Kp, which is equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressure. We have 4 options and then we have to identify the correct option out of these. So let's start by writing the equation that PCl3 reacts with chlorine and it forms PCl5. In the beginning, they have said that n moles of PCl3 and n moles of chlorine is taken. So we can assume that in the beginning, amount of PCl5 is 0. It is not present. So this is the initial amount. Change, we will figure it out. At equilibrium, it is given that y mole of PCl5 is formed. So if y mole of PCl5 is formed at equilibrium, so the change in the amount of PCl5 is plus y, and definitely this is y. Now, as per the stoichiometry of the reaction, if y moles of PCl5 is formed, then y moles of each of PCl3 and Cl2 must be consumed, which means that the amount of PCl3 and Cl2 each at equilibrium must be n minus y. So the equilibrium moles of the reactants and products are these that we have figured out, n minus y, n minus y, and y. So we can see that the total number of moles of all the species here is n minus y plus n minus y plus y, right? So plus y and minus y is cancelled. So this is equal to n plus n, 2n and minus y. So the total number of moles is 2n minus y. Now Kp we can write as the expression in terms of partial pressure, which would be partial pressure of PCl5 divided by partial pressure of PCl3 multiplied by partial pressure of chlorine. As per Dalton's law, the partial pressure of any species is the total pressure, which is given here as capital P, multiplied by the mole fraction of that species, which we can find out using the number of moles. So let us substitute the values, right? These number of moles. So the partial pressure of PCl5 is the total pressure, which is just P, and mole fraction of PCl5, which is Y divided by 2n minus y. So that's it for PCl5 divided by, in the denominator we have partial pressure of PCl3, which is the total pressure as P, and number of moles of PCl3 as n minus y divided by 2n minus y. And you can see that same will be for partial pressure of chlorine, total pressure as P and the mole fraction of chlorine as n minus y divided by 2n minus y. So when we solve it, we can see that one of the P cancels, right? Which means that there should be 1 power, of total pressure in the denominator, which means that option C and option D are eliminated because they have partial pressure in the numerator. That is not correct. Now, if we see that 2n minus y and 2n minus y, this cancels, right? And we would have y here in the numerator, right? And this 2n minus y here in the denominator of the denominator, which then becomes here 2n minus y divided by the denominator of the expression is n minus y and n minus y. So which would be finally n minus y square, right? So this is the final expression of Kp, which is y into 2n minus y divided by n minus y square multiplied by the total pressure. So this matches with option A, which is the correct answer of this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out the molality of H2SO4 solution, for which specific gravity is given to be 1.98 gram per ml, and the solution is 95% weight by volume H2SO4. So weight by volume means the mass of the solute and volume of the solution. And because it is percentage, the total number of parts of the solution would be 100. So one way of interpreting this is 100 ml solution contains 95 gram of sulfuric acid. So 95% weight by volume H2SO4 means if we take 100 ml of solution, that will contain 95 gram of H2SO4. Now to find out molality, we need mass of the solvent. So let us calculate that. For that, first we need to calculate what is the mass of solution. Mass of solution is simple, volume into density. Volume is 100 ml we have taken, and density would be 1.98 as given in the question. So this gives us the mass of solution as 198 gram. Now the solution is composed of 2 components, solvent, which is water here, right? And the solute, which is H2SO4. So from here, we can calculate what is the mass of solvent. The mass of solvent would be obviously mass of solution minus mass of solute. Mass of solution is 198, mass of solute H2SO4 is 95. So this gives us a value of 103 gram. So in this solution, we have 95 gram H2SO4 and the solvent is 103 grams. So let us calculate the molality of the solution, which is number of moles of solute. Number of moles is mass 95 divided by molar mass of H2SO4, which is 98 gram per mole, divided by mass of solvent in kg. The mass of solvent is 103, and if we want to find out in kilogram, we'll have to divide it by 1000. So molality of the solution comes out to be 95 divided by 98 multiplied by 103, and then back in the numerator multiplied by 1000. So if you do this calculation, this comes out to be approximately 9.412 mole per kg. So that is the correct answer of this question, which is option C. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, 1 mole of MnO4 minus undergoes disproportionation in neutral aqueous medium, and we have to find out the molar ratio of the products for 1 mole of the reactant. So let us start by writing the equation. MnO4 minus produces MnO4 minus and MnO2. So if you find out the oxidation states of the manganese atom in each of these species, it comes out to be +6 here, +7 here, and +4 here. So manganese goes from a state of +6 to +7, which means that it loses 1 electron. So the loss of electron is 1. At the same time, it goes from +6 to +4, which means that it gains 2 electrons. But the total loss and gain of electrons in a redox reaction must be equal. So we multiply loss by 2, which means that there should be 2 per magnetine, and that makes a total of 3 manganese on the reactant side. So as per the balanced equation, we see that 3 moles of MnO4 minus react, and then it gives 2 mole of MnO4 minus plus 1 mole of MnO2. So the molar ratio is 3:2:1, or if we divide it by 3, then for 1 mole of MnO4 minus, 2/3 mole of permagnetine is formed, which is MnO4 minus, and 1/3 mole of MnO2 is formed, right? So for 1 mole of MnO4 minus, 2/3 mole of MnO4 minus and 1/3 mole of MnO2 is formed. So option A here is the correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out which of the following is T-shaped. So let's start with XeOF2. There are 8 valence electrons on xenon, out of which 2 electrons are distributed with oxygen and 2 electrons with fluorine, leaving 4 unshared valence electrons on xenon, which means 2 lone pairs. So the steric number in XeOF2 is the total number of boundary atom, which is 3, plus total number of lone pair, which is 2. So the steric number is 5. With 5 steric number, the geometry is trigonal bipyramidal. Lone pairs always occupy equatorial position in this geometry because these are the position with minimum repulsions. Oxygen atom occupies the third equatorial position, and that is because in, again, trigonal bipyramidal geometry, more electronegative atoms tend to occupy axial positions. But because of repulsions from these lone pairs, the fluorines aren't exactly perpendicular, they bend away from these lone pairs, and the shape is not clear T, it is bent T, right? Because both the fluorine atoms are bent towards oxygen. So the correct answer is option A. In other 3 molecules, XeO3, we have 1 lone pair because 6 electrons are distributed with 3 oxygen atoms, 2 each. With 4 steric number, the geometry is tetrahedral and the shape is pyramidal. So this is not T-shaped. XeO4 cannot be T-shaped because there are 5 boundary atoms. This molecule is square pyramidal, right? XeOF4, and XeF4 has 2 lone pairs which are at an angle of 180 degrees, right? Leaving behind 4 fluorine atom in one plane, and the shape is a square planar. So as we figured out, the correct answer of this question is option A. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to tell the correct order of the basic character of the transition metal oxides. So we are given 4 orders. We have to tell which of the following given orders is correct. As we can see, the 4 metals are chromium, vanadium, iron, and titanium. They all belong to the 3D transition series, which is the first transition series that runs from scandium to zinc. If we consider the D10 configuration, then the oxidation state of the metal is same. As we can see, it is +2 in all the oxides. Now we know that as we move across the period from left to right, the electronegativity increases, electropositivity decreases, and hence the basic character of the metal monoxides will decrease, which means that as we move across the period, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese is not given here, and iron, these would progressively become less basic and more acidic, right? So the correct answer here is option B. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out the increasing order of reactivity of the following compounds with lithium aluminum hydride. Let's look at the options once. The first compound, as we can see, is an amide. So this is ED, ethyl, C double bond O, NH2. This is an amide. The second compound is a methyl ester. The third compound is an acid chloride. And the fourth compound is an anhydride. Okay, we are given four options after that, and we have to find out what is the correct increasing order of the reactivity of these compounds with lithium aluminum hydride. So reaction with lithium aluminum hydride is nucleophilic because lithium aluminum hydride provides hydride ion, which is a nucleophile. So we have to basically see the leaving group ability of the groups attached to the carbonyl carbon in these derivatives. So these groups are NH2, OCH3, Cl, and in the last case, this would be OCOET, right? So please remember that the leaving group ability of any species is inversely proportional to its basic strength, right? That is inversely proportional to the basic strength. And because basic strength is inversely proportional to acidic strength, we can also say that leaving group ability is directly proportional to the conjugate acid strength. So let us write the conjugate acids. The conjugate acid of NH2 is NH3, NH2 minus is NH3. The conjugate acid of OCH3 minus is CH3OH. The conjugate acid of chloride ion is HCl, and the conjugate acid of EtCOO minus is EtCOH. Now we know that HCl is the strongest acid out of that. Then the weaker is carboxylic acid. Weaker than that is methanol, and ammonia is the weakest acid, which means that acid chloride would be most reactive. So C compound should be most reactive. And because ammonia is the weakest acid here, or it will be the strongest base, NH2 minus will be the strongest base, it will be the poorest leaving group. So A would be least reactive. Out of B and D, which would be more reactive? We have seen that because EtCOH is a stronger acid, its conjugate base will be weaker. So next it will come D, and then we will have B, right? So A, B, D, C, that should be our correct answer. So which is A, B, D, C, option C. So this is the correct answer to this question. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to tell the number of complexes that have only two geometrical isomers. In the first complex, there are three symmetrical bidentate ligands. Because all the donor atoms are of the same element, so this complex will not show geometrical isomerism. So this is eliminated. In the second complex, we have MAB3, which means there are three unsymmetrical bidentate ligands. So let us draw their structures. Because there are three unsymmetrical bidentate ligands, the coordination number is 6, and the complex would be octahedral in nature. So we could put A here and B here, another A here and B here, and then A here and B here. So we can see that all the three A atoms are cis with respect to each other, as well as all the three B atoms are also cis with respect to each other. So this is one geometrical isomer. In another case, we can interchange the positions of some donor atoms. For example, we can put A here, right? So in this case, now the two A donor atoms are trans with respect to each other. And if we write like this, then we can see that two B donor atoms are also trans with respect to each other. So this is another geometrical isomer in which two A donor atoms as well as two B donor atoms are trans with respect to each other. So there are two geometrical isomers. So this is one complex that has two geometrical isomers. If we consider the next one, MAB twice B2, which means there are two monodentate ligands of same type and there are two unsymmetrical bidentate ligands. So let us first classify on the basis of this ligand, which is B monodentate. So these two B donor atoms can either be cis with respect to each other or they can be trans, which means that we can put these two B like this, or we can put them like this. Okay. Now in the first one, now we have to put two AB ligands in this remaining four positions. So I can either put A as like this and B like this, and A like this and B like this. So we can notice that A donor atoms are cis with respect to each other, as well as B donor atoms are cis with respect to each other. Now we can interchange the position of these AB. So for example, let us switch these A and B. So if I switch this B with A, then you can notice that now A is cis with respect to each other, but the two B donor atoms are trans. So this is another geometrical isomer. And similarly, then if you switch this one, right, this A and B donor atom, then you will get another geometrical isomers. So there are 3 geometrical isomers possible for the cis isomer in which these 2 p donor atoms are cis. Now let us consider this in which the 2 p donor atoms are trans. Now we can put AB like this, that is both A are cis and both B are cis, or we can interchange one. For example, we can put A here and B here, right? In this case, you can see that A is trans with respect to each other as well as B is also trans with respect to each other. So for the trans isomer of B, there are 2 more geometrical isomers, which means there are a total of 5 geometrical isomers, and hence this option is ruled out. Let us look at the next complex MA3BCD. Here we have 4 distinct complexes A, B, C, and D. So if I fix the position of one ligand, that is A, then on the trans position with respect to this ligand, I can either put A or B or C or D. So there are 4 arrangements possible. So this complex will have 4 geometrical isomers, which means that this is also out of our options. Now considering the last complex MA4B2, yes, this will be a right candidate because in this complex we will see geometrical isomerism with respect to B, and these two, just like these complexes, these 2 B ligands can be either cis or trans with respect to each other. So yes, this complex will have 2 geometrical isomers. So in total, the total number of complex compounds that have 2 geometrical isomers is MAB3 and MA4B2. Hence the correct answer to this question would be 2.00. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out how many p orbitals are parallel to each other in the following conjugated system. So we are given an anion and we have to find out how many p orbitals are parallel. So we are basically looking for the number of p orbitals that are in resonance, and only those p orbitals that are parallel or nearly parallel to each other are in conjugation with each other. So if you draw this structure, then we can see that it's a 6-membered ring with 1 nitrogen atom, heterocyclic compound, and it also has 1 carbon atom attached to it with a negative charge. So each of these carbon atom in the ring has a p orbital, because this circle means that there are 3 pi bonds inside the ring that are in conjugation. So I'm showing them like this. 5 p orbitals are of carbon and 1 p orbital is on nitrogen. So these are the 6 p orbitals that are in conjugation, and attached to this aromatic system is negatively charged carbon that also has a negative charge in a p orbital, so that all these 7 p orbitals are in conjugation with each other. So the correct answer to this question is 7. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, we have to find out how many compounds have 0 dipole moment. Let us start with the first molecule, which is PCl3F2. We have 2 different kinds of atoms here, chlorine and fluorine. Fluorine is more electronegative. In trigonal bipyramidal geometry, more electronegative atoms occupy axial position. So 2 fluorine atoms will occupy these axial positions and the remaining 3 chlorine atoms will sit on these equatorial positions. As we can see, the molecule is symmetrical. The bond dipole, because of the 3 PCl bonds in the equatorial plane, will cancel each other out because it's a symmetric structure, and also the 2 fluorine bonds point at 180 degree. These are 2 vectors of equal magnitude pointing at 180 degrees, so the net resultant dipole moment will be 0. So this molecule is non-polar, that is, it has a 0 net dipole moment. In the next structure, PF3Cl2, we have 3 fluorine atoms, right? 2 of them will occupy axial position, but third will have to go on equatorial position, and the remaining 2 equatorial positions will be occupied by chlorine. As we can see that this structure is unsymmetrical. With 1 fluorine and 2 chlorine atoms in the equatorial plane, this molecule has a non-zero dipole moment, so this is not our right candidate. In the next molecule, we have OCl2. If we take oxygen here as a central atom, then we can see that definitely this molecule has non-zero dipole moment, right? Which means that it's polar molecule. And similar to this is our water molecule, because in water also oxygen is the central atom. With 2 polar bonds and 2 lone pairs, this molecule is also highly polar, right? It does not have zero dipole moment. CCl4, on the other hand, is a non-polar molecule because it's a regular tetrahedral molecule with all the 4 positions occupied by chlorine atom. So it's a symmetrical structure. Yes, it is non-polar. It has zero dipole moment. Then coming to SF4, in SF4, out of 6 valence electrons on sulfur, 4 are distributed with fluorine and 2 electrons make up 1 lone pair. So the steric number is 5, and that lone pair occupies equatorial position in trigonal bipyramidal geometry. The 2 fluorine atoms occupy equatorial position, and the remaining 2 fluorine atoms, they occupy axial position. So SF4 molecule has seesaw structure. It's a distorted structure because of the presence of lone pair, and any distorted structure would have non-zero dipole moment. So this is also not a candidate. SF6, on the other hand, is a regular octahedral structure because all the 6 valence electrons of sulfur are distributed with fluorine atom. So it's an example of regular octahedral structure with zero dipole moment. So this is also a molecule that we're looking for. Next molecule is C2H4, which is ethene, and again it is a symmetrical molecule. The bond dipole moment, because of the CH bonds, they are in a symmetric manner, so they will cancel each other out and the resultant will be zero. So this is also one molecule. NCl3 is a pyramidal molecule. Out of 5 valence electrons of nitrogen, 3 are distributed with chlorine and 2 make up one lone pair. So the geometry is tetrahedral, but the shape is pyramidal. So this molecule is not non-polar, it has dipole moment. So this is not our candidate. So the total molecules that have zero dipole moment is 4. So that is going to be our correct answer. Thank you. Hi everyone. This question is based on thermodynamics. In this question, a reversible cyclic process is given that involves 6 steps. In step 1 and 3, system absorbs 500 joule and 800 joule of heat from a heat reservoir at temperature 250 Kelvin and 200 Kelvin respectively. And it's also given that step 2, 4 and 6 are adiabatic, such that the temperature of one reservoir changes to that of the next. Total work done by the system in the whole cycle is 700 joule, and we have to find out the temperature during step 5 if it exchanges heat from the reservoir at temperature T5. So basically we have to calculate the value of T5 here. This is a reversible cyclic process that involves 6 steps. So let us write the steps as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It is given that in a step 1 and 3, system absorbs 500. So this is plus 500. Step 3, system absorbs 800. So this would be plus 800 joule of energy. Step 2, 4, 6 are adiabatic. So 2, 4, and 6 are adiabatic. So Q would be 0. Also, it is given that the temperature of the system in step 1 is 250 Kelvin. It is given to us. In step 3, the temperature of the system is 200 Kelvin. And step 5, where we have to find out the temperature, that is T5. Okay. The total work done in the process is work done by the system, which is given to be minus 700 joule. Now, because this is a cyclic process, so from the first law of thermodynamics, delta U is equal to Q plus W, this will be 0 because delta U over the entire cyclic process will not undergo any change. So this means that the total heat during the system should be minus W, which should be plus 700 joule. But we know that total heat during the process is 500 in step 1. In step 2, it is 0. In step 3, it is 800. Plus in step 4 and 6, it is 0. And in step 5, let us just call it Q5. So this would be your Q5. So if we solve this, then the heat change in step 5 is minus 1300 plus 700. This would come out to be minus 600 joule. Now again, because the process is reversible cyclic, the total entropy change would also be 0. And we know that total entropy change is given by heat transferred divided by the temperature change. So for a step 1, heat is 500, temperature is 250. For step 3, heat is 800, temperature is 200. And for step 5, heat is 600 and temperature is T5, which we have to actually calculate. So this would be 2, this would be 4. So by simple calculation, this comes out to be 600 divided by T5 is equal to 6. And hence T5 comes out to be 100 Kelvin. So the correct answer of this question is 100. Thank you. Hi everyone. In this question, there are 5 orders of atomic radii given, and we have to find out how many of these are incorrect. Starting with the first order, N3 minus ion is bigger than P3 minus ion. This is incorrect because nitrogen lies first in the group 15 elements and phosphorus lies below nitrogen. So atomic radius of phosphorus is larger. So definitely the ionic radius of P3 minus would be greater than the ionic radius of N3 minus. So this order is incorrect. In the second order, O2 minus is bigger than F minus. This is correct. O2 minus and F minus both are isoelectronic species. So greater the charge on an ion, larger will be its atomic radius. So this order is correct. In order C, calcium ion is bigger than strontium ion. Again, this is incorrect because in group 2 we have beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. So as we move down the group, the ionic radius increases. So it is a strontium ion that is larger than calcium ion, not the other way around. So this is also incorrect. S minus is bigger than S2 minus. No. both atoms are sulfur, right? So as the charge on an anion increases, the size also increases because of electron-electron repulsions. So S2 minus actually bigger than S minus. So this order is also incorrect. In the last order, S2 minus is bigger than O minus. That is definitely correct, because in group 16 elements, we have oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, etc. So obviously sulfur is bigger than oxygen, and also sulfur has 2 units of negative charge. So definitely it is going to be bigger than O minus. So this order is also correct. So there are in total 3 orders here that are incorrect. So 3.00 is going to be our correct answer. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Firoz Khan, Master Teacher of Mathematics here at Vedantu. So in this video, we are going to discuss mathematics paper of JMMT-4, which was conducted very recently. So let's start the discussion without wasting time. And here is the first question on your screen. And it is based on matrices and determinant. Very frequent type of question. These type of questions are asked very frequently in JEE Maths. What they are saying, they have given you a system of homogeneous equations. And they are saying that this system has only non-zero solution. Only zero solution, sorry. Only zero solution means x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, z is equal to 0 is the only solution. Means unique solution. Then the sum of values that k cannot take. So actually, if I rewrite this equation, in fact, this system, I can write it as 2kx plus 3y plus 3z0. Then 2x plus k plus 2y, k plus 2y plus 3z0. Then 4x plus 2ky plus k plus 1z. Now, as the question says, this system has only trivial solution 0, 0, 0, only one solution. So if I form a determinant using coefficients 2k, 3, 3, 2, k plus 2, 3, 4, 2k, k plus 1. The system has a unique solution, means this determinant should not be 0, right? And now if you expand this determinant, you will get k square minus 1 into k minus 3 not equal to 0. So finally you will get k is equal to 1 minus 1 3. In fact, k not equal to 1 minus 1 3. So what are the sum of these three values? Sum of these three values is 1 minus 1 plus 3, which is actually 3, right? Very easy question. So let's move to the next question. This question is based on vectors. They have given you two vectors A and B, A and A cross B in fact, and A and A cross B, these are the sides of a triangle. Angle between A and B is also given, cot inverse root 335. So then they are asking perimeter of this triangle. So to get the perimeter, actually you have to get the side length, right? Now it is very obvious that this vector A cross B is perpendicular to A. A cross B is a vector which is perpendicular to both A and B. So A cross B is perpendicular to A. And they are saying that these two vectors A cross B and A are the sides of a triangle. So of course this triangle will be a right triangle because A cross B and A are perpendicular vectors. So this will be a right triangle here like this. This vector is, let's say, A. This vector is, let's say, A cross. Here I have a right. Now if I check mod A, so it is 3. That means this side length is 3. This side length. This side length is 3. I'm talking about this side. Now if I check mod A cross B, so mod A cross B is what? AB sine theta. Mod A is 3. Mod B is given 8. And sine theta, how will you get sine theta? So see, theta is given, angle between A and B is given, cot inverse root 35. So this gives you cot theta is equal to root 35. So if you find sine theta from here, so sine theta will be 1 by 6, perpendicular over hypotenuse. Hypotenuse, in fact, base is root 35, perpendicular is 1, so hypotenuse will be 6. So basically it is 4. So this side is 4. So I can say that this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Hypotenuse will be 5. So 3 plus 4 plus 5 means Perimeter is 12 here. So 12 is the correct answer, right? Now let's move to the next question. See this question based on differential equation. In fact, actually based on linear differential equation, and a linear differential equation is very frequently asked in JEE Mains. So y is equal to fx is the solution of this differential equation. Y0 is 2. So what will be y cos inverse 4 by 5? Means if I put x is equal to cos inverse 4 by 5, then what will be y out of these four options given here? Now see, I can write this differential equation as dy by dx. I'm dividing the whole equation by cos x here. So secant xy secant xy. Then on the right side, I will get secant x minus tan x. Just divide the whole equation by cos x here. So dy by dx, secant xy, and secant x. Now you can see that it is linear differential equation dy by dx p by q. And if you find its integrating factor, so its integrating factor is e raised to secant x dx. And if you solve it, you will get what? You will get e raised to ln secant x plus tan x. So basically integrating factor is secant x plus tan x here. Now let's write the solution. So solution will be what? Solution will be y into integrating factor. Y into integrating factor. And on the right side, I will write, see, left side will be y into integrating factor. And on the right side, I will write q into integrating factor. So q is secant x minus tan x. Secant x minus tan x into secant x plus tan x. That will be 1. The right side will be dx only. So you are getting y into secant x plus tan x is equal to x plus c. Now let's find c. How will you get c? So y0 is given 2 here. So if I put y0 is 2, means if x is 0, y is 2. So if I put 0 comma 2 here, x0, y2. So I will get y is actually 2. So I will get 2 times secant 0, which is 1, tan 0, which is 0. On the right side, I'm getting c. So c is 2 here. So you are getting what? You are getting y times secant x plus tan x is equal to x plus 2. Now what they are saying, if I put x is equal to cos inverse 4 by 5, then what will be y? So put x is equal to cos inverse 4 by 5 here. X is equal to cos inverse 4 by 5. Means cos x is 4 by 5. Right? Now let's see what happens. Y cos x is 4 by 5, so secant x is 5 by 4. Cos x is 4 by 5, so tan x will be what? Tan will be p by b, perpendicular over base. So it will be 3 by 4. X is what? Cos inverse 4 by 5 plus 2. So you are getting here, let's add this. So you are getting 5 plus 3, 8 by 4 divided by 2. So you are getting y is equal to half cos inverse 4 by 5 plus 1, right? But if I look at the option, I don't have any option like this, half cos inverse 4 by 5 plus 1. So that means now I have to manipulate cos inverse 4 by 5. Means I need to find this value of half cos inverse 4 by 5. So let's suppose this cos inverse 4 by 5, see, if cos inverse 4, let's suppose this cos inverse 4 by 5 as x, so ultimately it is y is equal to x by 2, right? Now see, cos x is 4 by 5, so cos x can be written as, in fact, this can be written as what? This can be written as x by 2 plus 1. Cos inverse 4 by 5 is x. Now, how will you get x by 2? So see, cos x can be written as 2 cos square x by 2 minus 1. 4 by 5. If you solve it, So this gives you 2 cos square x by 2, 9 by 5. This gives you cos x by 2, 9 by 10, in fact cos square x by 2. So this gives you cos x by 2, 3 by root 10. Obviously x by 2 is an acute angle here. So therefore you have to take the positive value. So I can write x by 2 as cos inverse 3 by root 10. So now I can say that y is what? 1 plus x by 2, and x by 2 is cos inverse 3 by root 10. So option C is the correct option here. So C option is the correct option here. Let's move to the next question. So they are saying that Px is in question number 4. Px is a polynomial of degree at least 2 and satisfying these two conditions. So basically first condition gives you P0 is equal to 2. Just a minute. P0 is equal to 2 and P of minus 1 is 0. P of minus 1 is 0. Just a minute. Yes. So P0 is 2 and P of minus 1 is 0. Now Rx is the remainder when Px is divided by xx plus 1. So what is Rx here? So see, you are dividing Px by a quadratic. You are dividing Px by xx plus 1 means you are dividing by a quadratic. So remainder can be at most linear, means remainder will be either a constant or of degree 1. So I can assume that the remainder is, Rx is ax plus b. The remainder will be either a constant or linear. If a is 0, it is constant. If a not 0, it is linear. Now I can write Px as, I am using dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. So dividend is Px, divisor is xx plus 1. Let's say Qx is the quotient and remainder is Rx, which is ax plus b. Now let's try to find these a and b. So see, if I'm given P0 and P of minus 1. So if I find P0 here, so P0 put x is equal to 0, P0 will be b and P0 is given 2. So this implies b is 2. Now if I put P of minus 1, x is equal to minus 1 if I'm putting here. So P of minus 1 will be minus a plus b and it is given 0. So means a and b both are equal, both are 2. So hence your remainder is basically 2x plus 2. So of course, this is y is equal to 2x plus 2. So this is a linear equation, a straight line having slope 2 and y-intercept 2. So option A is the correct option here. If this line has slope 2 and y-intercept 2, right? So let's move to the next question. This is a tricky question. I should say this is very difficult question, not a JEE mains type question. This is basically a JEE advanced type question. So they have defined a function g from n to n, natural number to natural number, and g of 3n plus 1 is 3n plus 2, g of 3n plus 2 is 3n plus 3, g of 3n plus 3 is 3n plus 1. Actually cyclic order, 3n plus 1, 3n plus 2, and then 3n plus 3, and then 3n plus 1. And n for all n greater than or equal to 0. Now you have to check which option is true here. So I have to check the option one by one, which option is correct here. So let's check option A first. Let's check option A. So option A says ki g of g, it should be g. Okay, let's check whether it is correct or not. So I have to check g of g. Let's say I'm checking g of g 3n plus 1. G of G3n plus 1. So it will become G of and G3n plus 1 is what? 3n plus 2. Now it is what? G of G3n plus 2 is 3n plus 3. And G3n plus 3 is what? G3n plus 3 is 3n plus 1. So you can see that the G of G3n plus 1 is basically not equal to G3n plus 1. It is basically not equal to G of 3n plus 1. Means G of G is not equal to G. Means option A is false option here. So this option is false. A option. Now there exists, option B says there exists an onto function f from n to n such that f of g is equal to f. I will check this option later. Let's check option C first. Let's check option C first. There exists a 1-1 function f from n to n such that f of g is equal to f. So see, if f is 1-1, so f of g of 3n plus 1, f of g of 3n plus 1 f of g of 3n plus 1 is f of 3n plus 1. Actually, they are saying that f of g is f. So I'm taking f of g of 3n plus 1, f of 3n plus 1. Now, since function is 1-1, so I can write g of 3n plus 1 is 3n plus 1. Because if function is 1-1, so fx1 is equal to fx2 implies x1 is equal to x2. So g of 3n plus 1 is 3n plus 1, which is false. It is false because g of 3n plus 1 is not 3n plus 1. It is 3n plus 2 actually. So means C option is also false. Now let's check D option, whether D is correct or not. So in D option, they are saying that there exists a function f from n to n such that g of f is equal to f. G of f is equal to f. Is there exist any function f such that g of f is equal to f? So you can see here the function is defined in such a way, the function g is defined in such a way that g of x is never equal to x. Actually, g of 3n plus 1 is 3n plus 2. G of 3n plus 2 is 3n plus 3. So actually, you can say that your function is defined in such a way that g of x is always not equal to x for all x. And since g of x is always not equal to x, so therefore g of fx is always not equal to fx. But they are saying that g of f is f. So, and we are getting g of f not equal to f. So that means this option is also correct, also false. So now only B option remains. So without doing anything in option B, you can say that B will be correct here. Now let's justify how B is correct. They are saying that there exists an onto function f from n to n such that f of g is equal to f. So can I create an example? Can I create an example so that g of f becomes f of g becomes f? F of g becomes, means I have to create an onto function f. So let's create a function like this. Let's say I'm taking a function f, something defined like this. f of 3m minus 2 is equal to m. F of 3m minus 1 is equal to m. F of 3m is equal to, and m is any natural number here. What I'm trying to do here, I'm taking same value at 3 consecutive natural number. For example, here I'm taking f of 3m minus 2m, f of 3m minus 1m, f of 3m. You can see that this function is an onto function, because if I check f1, put m is equal to 1 here, so f1 will be 1. Put f2 is also 1. F3 is also 1. Put m is equal to 1, so F1 is 1, F2 is 1, F3 is 1. Now put m is equal to 2, so F2 is 2. F4 is 2. Put m F4 is 2, F5 is 2, F6 is 2. Then you can say that F7 is 3, F8 is 3, F9 is 3, and keep writing like this. So you can see that it is an onto function. M can take any natural value. So range of f will contain all the natural numbers. So it is an onto function for sure. Now I can show that f of g will always become f. F of g will always become f. Why f of g will always become f? So see, three possibilities. I can see, let's find f of gx. F of g, to three possibilities is there. X is 3m minus 2 or 3m minus 1 or 3m. See, every natural number can be written in these three form only. 3m, 3m minus 1, 3m minus 2. Whether you take x is equal to 3m minus 2 or x is equal to 3m minus 1 or x is equal to 3m, every time f of gx will be f only. Let me show you. If I take f of g 3m minus 1, 3m minus 2, let's say. So by definition of g of 3m minus 2, see, g of 3n plus 1 becomes 3n plus 2. One more. So g of 3n minus 2 will become 3m minus 1. And f of 3m minus 1 is n, right? So, and which is equal to basically f of 3m minus 2 only. So you can see that f of gx becomes fx only. So you can see that f of gx becomes fx only. So whether you take x is equal to 3m minus 2 or 3m minus 1 or 3m, in every case you will get f of gx is equal to fx only. Is this option is correct option? Difficult question. Try to digest it by pausing the video. So it's a difficult one. Let's see this question. How to do this? Nine distinct balls are distributed among four boxes, B1, B2, B3, B4, randomly. So what is the probability that B3 contains exactly 3 balls? And this probability is actually given, k times 3 by 4 raised to 9. So in which interval k lies? K lies in which set out of these? So let's find the probability that B3 contains exactly 3. So what is the total number of ways here? NS. Total number of ways of distributing 9 distinct balls in 4 boxes. So actually for each ball, you have 4 options. Ball 1 can go to B1, B2, B3, B4. So for each ball, you have 4 options. So 4 into 4 into 4, 9 times. So NS will be 4 raised to 9. For each ball, you have 4 options. You have 9 balls. So 4 into 4 into 4, 9 times 4 raised to 1. This is NS, means total number of cases without any restriction. Now, let's write the favorable number of cases, NE. Favorable number of cases. What is favorable number of cases? If the box B3 must contain exactly 3 balls. But I don't know which 3 balls goes to B3. Balls are distinct. So what I will do, I will choose 3 balls first, 9C3. From 9 balls, 3 balls are selected randomly. And now these 3 balls will go to B3, means you will put these 3 balls in B3. Now you are left with 6 balls. And for each of these 6 balls, you have 3 options. Means each of these 6 balls will go either in B1 or B2 or B4. So for each ball, you have 3 options. You have 6 balls. So 3 into 3 into 3, 6 times means 3 raised to 6. So what is this probability? This probability is 9C3 into 3 raised to 6 divided by 4 raised to 9. And this is given as k times 3 by 4 raised to 9. So 4 raised to 9 can be cancelled from both sides. 4 raised to 9 can be cancelled from both sides. Now 9C3 can be written as 9, 8, 7 by 3 factorial, which is 6. Then I have 3 raised to 6 on the left, 3 raised to 9 on the right. So I will get here k times 3 raised to 3, or you can say 27. Now solve it. So 9 into 3, 27. So ultimately you are getting what? You are getting k is equal to 56 by 18. And now you can easily check if 56 by 18 satisfies which of these inequality. Just put x is equal to 56 by 18 in each of these 4 options and see which option gets satisfied for 56 by 18. So put x is equal to 56 by 18 in each option, and 56 by 18 is basically 28 by 9. So just put 28 by 9 in each option, so you will see that it satisfies the C option, right? Right. Let's move to the next question. Here is the next question based on increasing decreasing function, a relatively easier question. They are saying that this function is increasing in which of, in fact, a function is given, x belongs to minus pi by 6 to pi by 2. Then you have to pick the correct option. Means you have to check in which interval it is increasing or decreasing. So what you will do to check increasing or decreasing, you will just differentiate it. So if I differentiate it, f dash x, so I will get what? I will get 12 sine cube x into cos x. Then I will get 30 sine square x into cos x. Then I will get 12 sine x into cos x. So 12 sine cube x cos x, 30 sine square x cos x, and then 12 sine cube x cos x, 30 sine square x cos x, and then 12 sine x cos x. So what I can do here, I can take something common. 6 can be taken common, sine x can be taken common, cos x can be taken. So now I'm left with 2 times sine square x here, plus 5 times sine x here, plus 2. Now it is 6 times sine x cos x. And this 2 sine square x plus 5 sine x plus 2, it can be factorized as sine x plus 2 into 2 sine x plus 1. Now between minus pi by 2 and pi by 2, now between minus pi by 6 and pi by 2, between minus pi by 6 and pi by 2, your cos x is a positive quantity. This cos x is positive. This sine x plus 2 is also positive. This 2 sine x plus 1 is also positive between minus pi by 6 and pi by 2. Because x is greater than minus pi by 6, so sine x will be greater than minus half. So this is also positive. So only this sine x will change sign here. Only this sine x will change sign here. The first term only sine x. And sine x changes its sign at 0. Between minus pi by 6 and 0, it is negative. And between 0 and pi by 2, it is positive here. So your function will be decreasing in minus pi by 6 to 0 and increasing in 0 to pi by 2. So see which option is correct. Decreasing in minus pi by 6 to 0, so this option is false. Decreasing in 0 to pi by 2, this option is also false. Decreasing in minus pi by 6 to 0, this is correct. Increasing in minus, so it is also false. So only C option is correct option here, right? Chalo, let's move to the next question. So here is the next question. Just a minute, let me refresh it. Just a minute, I'm just refreshing it. So here in this question, it is based on binomial, and what they are saying here, n is the degree of this polynomial. Means if I simplify, so n is the degree, and m is the coefficient of x raised to n. Then you have to get ordered pair nm here. Okay, what is the ordered pair nm? So let's solve it. First, I have to get the degree of this polynomial. So now if I rationalize this under root 5x cube minus 1 minus under root 5x cube plus 1, just multiplying the numerator and denominator with its conjugate. So actually this first one becomes under root 5x cube plus 1 plus under root 5x cube minus 1 whole raised to 8. And this second one becomes under root 5x cube plus 1 minus under root 5x cube minus 1 whole raised to 8. Just rationalize it. Now I can write it as a plus b raised to 8 plus a minus b raised to 8, where I'm taking a as under root 5x cube plus 1 and I'm taking b as under root 5x cube minus 1. A is under root 5x cube plus 1, b is under root 5x cube minus 1. Now if you expand, so ultimately you will get what? You will get 2 times 8c0 a raised to 8. Then you will get 8c2 a raised to 6b square. Then you will get 8c4 a4 b4. Then we get 8c6 a square b6. And finally it is 8c8 b raised to 8. Now let's put the values of a and b here. So it is 2 times 8c0, which is basically 1, or let me write 8c0 only. A raised to 8 is what? A raised to 8 is 5x cube plus 1 whole raised to 4. Then 8c2 a raised to 6, 5x cube plus 1 whole cube, and b square, which is 5x cube minus 1. Then 8c4 a4 is what? 5x cube plus 1 whole square, and b4 5x cube minus 1 whole square. Then 8c6 a square 5x cube plus 1, b6 5x cube minus 1 whole cube, and finally it is 8c8 b raised to 8, means 5x cube minus 1 whole raised to 4. Now if you expand, so you can see that the maximum power of x you will get 12 here, 3 into 4. You will also get here 3 into 3, 9, 12. In fact, in each term, whether you expand this one, the first one with HC0, or you expand this second one, 9 plus 3, 12. Here it is 6 plus 6, 12. So in each term, maximum power of x is 12. The degree is 12 here. So you can say that n will be 12. See, if you expand this using binomial, maximum power of x you will get 12 in everywhere. 3 to 4, 12. 3 into 3, 9 plus 3, 12. 3 into 2, 6 plus 6, 12. So it is 12 only. Now they are asking coefficient of x raised to n, that is m. M is what? M is coefficient of x raised to n, and n is 12. So x raised to 12. So let's take the coefficient of x raised to 12. So I will get 2 times with 8c0. For x raised to 12, I will get 5 raised to 4 here. 5 raised to 4. With 8c2, for x raised to 12, I will get what? I will get 5 cube into 5. Again 5 raised to 4. With 8c4, I will get 5 square into 5 square. With 8c6, I will get 5 into 5 cube. And finally with 8c8, I will get again 5 raised to 4. 5 raised to 4 can be taken common. And inside the bracket, you have 8C0 plus 8C2 plus 8C4 plus 8C6 plus 8C8, which is nothing but 2 raised to 8 minus 1, 2 raised to 7. So you are getting what? You are getting 2 raised to 8 into 5 raised to 4. Or you can say 4 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 4. Means it is 20 raised to 4. So n is 12 and m is 20 raised to 4. So means option C should be the correct option here. N is 12, m is 20 raised to 4. Next question. These three vectors are coplanar vectors. Then which of the following option is true here? Very easy question. For coplanar vectors, basically the determinant formed by the coefficients should be 0. That's it. So what I will do, I will form a determinant using coefficients. First row is 2 plus a plus b. Second row is a plus 2b plus c. Third row is minus b. First row is a 2 plus a plus b, a plus 2b plus c minus b minus. This is the first row. Second row is 1 plus b, 2b, and then minus b. And third row is what? 2 plus b, 2b, and 1 minus b. And as the three vectors are coplanar, this determinant should be 0. Now, let's simplify this determinant. So what I will do here, if I subtract, if I change R1 minus R2 and R2 minus R3. So what I will get? Let's write R1 minus R2. So you will get 1 plus a here. 2 minus 1. Then you will get a plus c here. Then you will get minus c here. Then R2 minus R3. R2 minus R3. You will get minus 1 here. 0 here. And minus 1 here. And then 2 plus b. 2b. 1 minus b. Now just expand this determinant. Don't do anything. Just expand it through the second row. In fact, expand anywhere. So ultimately, when you expand this determinant, you will get your condition. So just expand the determinant. Ultimately, you will get this 2b is equal to a plus c. Means B option is correct here. So now no need to do anything. Don't do anything here. Just expand this determinant. You will get 2b is equal to a plus c. Chalo, let's move to the next question. Again, a very difficult question. This is actually PYQ. It was asked in JEE Mains. A difficult question. You are asking the number of real roots of this equation. Number of real roots of this equation. So what I can do here, okay, let's try to simplify it first. So I can see I have e raised to 6x here. Then I have 2 times e raised to 3x here. Just see this term, e raised to 6x, 2 e raised to 3x, and 1. So using these three terms, I can write it as e raised to 3x minus 1 whole square. E raised to 6x minus 2 e raised to 3x plus 1. Next, if I look these three terms, if I look at these two terms, in fact, e raised to 4x and e raised to x, these two terms. So I can take e raised to x common, minus e raised to x, in fact. So it will become e raised to 3x minus 1. And then I have 12 e raised to 2x also. So I can write like this. Now let's substitute e raised to 3x minus 1 as y and e raised to 2x. Let's substitute this e raised to 3x minus 1 as a and e raised to x as b. So I will get a square minus AB minus 12B square 0. A square minus AB minus 12. And I can factorize it. I can write it as A square minus 4AB plus 3AB minus 12B square. Take A common here. So A minus 4B. Take 3B common here. So A minus 4B. So basically you are getting two possibilities. Either A is equal to 4B or A is equal to minus 3B. Now just put the value. A is e raised to 3x minus 1, 4B, 4 e raised to x. Or e raised to 3x minus 1 minus 3B, the minus 3 e raised. If I divide both the equation by e raised to x, so I will get here e raised to 2x minus e raised to minus x is equal to 4. And second equation gives you e raised to 2x minus e raised to minus x is equal to minus 3. And in fact, if I write this equation as e raised to 2x minus e raised to minus x minus 4 0, and second equation e raised to 2x minus e raised to minus x plus 3 0. So now you can see that actually both these functions, let me write this first one as fx is equal to 0 and second one as gx is equal to 0. You can easily check that if both these functions are increasing function, the derivative of both one is positive, and both are increasing from minus infinity to, in fact, see, if x goes to minus infinity, so in fact both will increase from minus infinity to plus infinity. So both are actually increasing function. So let's say this is the graph of fx, this is the graph of gx. Both are increasing. So both will cut x-axis at exactly one point. So means the first equation will give you one root, exactly one root. The second equation will also give you exactly one root. So actually both the equations gives you here one root each. So hence the total number of roots will be 2. Means option B is the correct option here. This is one way of solving this equation, or one way of solving this question. There is another way of solving which is given on your slides. So you can look at the another solution. But this one is the better one. Now you have to find the area of the region satisfying these three inequalities. X greater than or equal to 0 means on the right side of y-axis, 2x square less than or equal to y. So basically it is a parabola, y is equal to 2x square, and y is equal to 4 minus 2x. It is a line. So let's draw the figure first. So I have, let's say this line is y-axis, this line is x-axis. I'm drawing y is equal to 2x square first. So y is equal to 2x square is an upward parabola, something like this. I'm drawing the parabola only on the right side of y-axis because they have given that x is greater than or equal to 0. So no need to draw on the left side of y-axis. Now let's draw this line. Y is less than or equal to y is equal to 4 minus 2x. So obviously this line cuts y-axis at 4 and x-axis at 2. In fact, I'm drawing this line. Y is equal to 4 minus 2x. So this line cuts y-axis at 4, x-axis at 2. The line will be something like this. Line cuts x-axis at 2, y-axis at 4. You need which area? So area on the right side of y-axis, on the upper side of the parabola and lower side of the line. Means this area actually you need, this area. So for that, first you have to get this point of intersection. And how will you get this point of intersection? So by solving this line with the parabola, y is equal to 2x square. So if I solve this line by 4 minus 2x with the parabola 2x square, so I'm getting what? I'm getting x square plus x is equal to 2. So of course x is 1 here. So this is actually 1. Now just integrate from 0 to 1, you will get your area. So your area is what? 0 to 1. Upper curve, which is line 4 minus 2x, and lower curve, which is parabola 2x squared dx. Now very easy to integrate. So I'm not wasting my time here. Just integrate, you will get your answer. So if you integrate, you will get it as 7 by 3. Let's see this question. You have an ellipse E, horizontal ellipse, because a square is greater than b square. This ellipse passes through root 3 by 2 comma 1 and has eccentricity 1 by root 3. Then we have drawn a circle having center at the focus of the ellipse. Focus is f, alpha comma 0, alpha is positive, and radius of this circle is 2 by root 3. Now if the circle and ellipse intersect at P and Q, so what will be PQ square? So first I have to get these A and B here. So see, ellipse is passing through this point. So this point must satisfy the ellipse. Put x is equal to root 3 by 2, y is equal to 1 here. So you will get 3 by 2a square. Y is 1. So 1 by b square is equal to root 3 by 2 comma 1 satisfies the ellipse. Now eccentricity of the ellipse is 1 by root 3. The eccentricity of the ellipse can be written as under root a square minus b square by a. And it is given 1 by root 3. If I do squaring both sides, so I will get 3a square minus 3b square is equal to a square. So I will get 2a square is equal to 3b square. Now put the value of 2a square here in this equation. So this equation is what? 3 over 2a square. And 2a square is here 3b square. So it is 3 over 3b square plus 1 over b square. 1. So this gives you 2 by b square 1. B square is 2. And when b square is 2, a square is 3. Means your ellipse is what? Your ellipse is x square over 3 plus y square over 2 is equal to. Now let's find the focus of the ellipse. The focus will be basically AE comma 0. So the focus F is basically AE comma 0. F is what? AE comma 0. A is what? Root 3. E is 1 by root 3. So A is root 3, E is 1 by root 3. So it is 1 comma 0. So now I can write the equation of circle. The circle has center at 1 comma 0, x minus 1 whole square, y minus 0 square. And radius of this circle is given as 2 by root 3. So it is 4 by 3. This is the circle. Now they are saying that this ellipse and circle intersect at P and Q. So let's solve this equation of ellipse with the equation of circle. Means I am solving equation 1 and 2. I am solving equation 1 and 2. So let's solve it. If I find the value of y square from the first equation from the ellipse and put it in the second equation. The first equation is basically 2x square plus 3y square. In fact, see, the equation of ellipse can be written as 2x square plus 3y square is equal to 6. And the equation of circle can be written as 3 times x minus 1 whole square plus 3 times y square is equal to 4. Right? Now, if I subtract these two, just subtract. So 3y square will disappear. 3y square will disappear. So you will get what? You will get 2x square minus 3 times x minus 1 whole square is equal to 2. Just solve it. Just subtract it. So 2x square minus 3 times x minus 1 whole square is equal to 2. If I simplify it, 2x square minus 3x square, which is minus x square, then I will get here plus 6x. Then I will get here 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2, which is plus 1. Two x square minus 3x square, which is x square, right? Then I'm getting what? I'm getting minus 6x, means plus 6x in fact. Then 3 minus 2. In fact, minus 3 minus 2, my bad. I'm getting minus 3 minus 2, which is minus 5. So this equation can be written as x square minus 6x plus 5. It can be factorized x minus this please. So it can be factorized x minus 1, x minus 5. So x is 1 or 5. Now when x is 1, so what will be y? Just check. So if I say they are saying that this ellipse and circle intersect at 2 points P and Q. Ellipse and circle intersect at 2 points P and Q. So what will be PQ? So if I put x is equal to 1 here in any of the equation, either in the circle or in the ellipse. So if I put x is equal to 1, y will be what? Put x is equal to 1. So 6 minus 2, y will be what? Y. In fact, should I take positive value only? They have not said that you have to take positive values only. But I think answer will be same whether you take the positive one or the negative one. In fact, if I look at the question, the center of the for x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 5. In fact, x is equal to 5 is not possible here. Yes. Anyhow, if I take x is equal to 1, let me put here. If I put x is equal to 1 here, so I will get 3y square is equal to 4. Y square will be 4 by 3. Y will be plus minus 2 by root 3. And if I put x is equal to 5 here, then y square becomes negative. So this 5 is not possible actually. This 5 is not possible actually. When you put x is equal to 5, y square becomes negative. So when x is 1, then y square will be 4 by 3, means y will be plus minus 2. Actually, p and q points are what? If you take p as 1 comma 2 by root 3, so then q will be 1 comma minus 2 by, or vice versa. So pq length is basically 4 by root 3. But they are asking pq square, so it is 16 by 3. 16 by 3 should be the correct answer here. Let's see this question. The locus of the midpoint of the line segment joining the focus of the parabola to a moving point of the parabola. So very easy question. You know that basically it is a right open parabola like this. And I'm joining the focus of the parabola to a moving point of the parabola. So you know that the focus of this parabola, this is x-axis, vertex. Focus of this parabola is, let's say, S, a comma 0. And I'm joining it with any moving point on the parabola. So let's say P is a moving point on the parabola. Now I have to get the locus of the middle point of PS. So I can take this P point as 80 square comma 280. Any point on this parabola can be taken in this form, 80 square comma 280. And I need the locus of the middle point. So let's say middle point is xy. Because I need its locus, so I will take it as x comma y. So x will be what? X using midpoint formula. X will be a plus 80 square by 2. And y will be what? 0 plus 280 by 2, which is 80. Now I can write it as 2x is equal to, it is 2x. I can write 2x is equal to a plus 80 square, and t is what? Y by a. So t can be written as y by a whole square. So I'm getting 2x is equal to a plus y square by a. If I simplify it, it becomes y square is equal to 2ax minus a square. Or I can write it as y square is equal to 2a x minus a by 2. and this locus is also a parabola. This locus, this is the locus in fact, and this locus is also a parabola. Now I need the directrix of this locus. Directrix of this locus. So you can see that this parabola is also of the form y square is equal to 4ax. But capital X is actually here x minus a by 2 and 4 capital A is 2a. So what is the directrix of this parabola? The directrix of this parabola is x is equal to minus a. And what is capital X here? X minus a by 2. And you can see that if 4 capital A is 2a, so I can write minus a as a by 2. So directrix is basically x is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0 is the correct option here, right guys? Chalo, let's move to the next question. Next question is based on 3 dimension. Length of the perpendicular from the point beta 0 beta to this line is root 3 by 2. Then what is the value of beta here? So basically you have a line here. Let's say this is your line. This is your given line. And you are drawing a perpendicular on this line. Perpendicular on this line from the point beta 0 beta. Let's say this point is A. Foot of the perpendicular is, let's say, P. And this length of the perpendicular AP is given here, root 3 by 2. So what will be beta? This is what the question. What will be beta? So let's choose the point P first. So P is any point on this line, and any point on this line can be taken as lambda if I equate this line to lambda, so x will be lambda, y will be 1, and z will be minus lambda minus 1. Just equate this line with lambda, so x will be lambda, y will be 1, z will be minus lambda. This is point P. And you can see that a vector along this line, the direction ratio of this line is 1, 0, minus 1. Means I can choose a vector q along this line as 1, 0, minus 1. Or you can say that the direction ratio of this line is 1, 0, minus 1. Or you can say the vector along this line is I plus 0, j minus k. I can also find this AP vector. AP vector is what? P minus a, just subtract. So you will get what? You will get lambda minus beta, 1 minus 0, and minus lambda minus beta minus 1. Now obviously AP vector dot Q vector should be 0 because AP is perpendicular to Q. So take the dot product of AP with Q. So you will get lambda minus beta plus 1 into 0. Then minus lambda minus beta minus 1 into minus 1. So you will get lambda plus beta plus 1. It should be 0. So you can see that the beta disappears. And you get lambda as minus half. So now you got P point. P point is what? Minus half, 1, and half minus 1, minus half. So P point is minus half, then 1, and then half minus 1. Now you can find this AP length. So AP square will be what? AP square will be P is basically minus half, 1 minus half. So AP square will be beta plus half whole square. 0 minus 1 square. And again beta plus half whole square. And this AP square is given 3 by 2. AP is root 3 by 2. So AP square will be 3. So this gives you 2 times beta plus half whole square is equal to half. So beta plus half is plus minus half. So this gives you beta is equal to minus 1 or 0. But they have given that the beta is not 0. So therefore 0 will be rejected. You will take only beta is equal to minus 1. Means option C should be the correct option here. See the next question. A pack of cards has one card missing, means out of 52 cards, one card is missing. And from this pack of 51 cards, two cards are drawn and both are found to be sped. Means from these 51 card, if you draw two cards, both are found to be speds. Then what is the probability that missing card is not a sped? To see, we have two possibilities here. The missing card is a sped, missing card is not a sped. So let's say even missing card is sped, and E2 missing card is not a sped. And let's say A is the probability. If I draw two cards, both are found to be, if I draw two cards, both are found to be sped. So this probability is, this event is, let's say A. So A is the event. Two cards are drawn and both are found to be. So two drawn cards are sped. Both is sped in fact. Now what is this P even? So see, if one card out of 52 is missing, so that will be sped. Its probability is 13 by 52 because 13 spades are there, 1 by 4. And that card, the missing card is not an spade, not a spade, that probability will be 3 by 4. Now let's write the total probability that if I draw two cards from the remaining pack of 51 cards, both will be spade. So that will be what? That will be, the missing card is, let's say, spade 1 by 4. So I am drawing two cards from 51 cards, 51 C2, and both will be spade. So that possibility is 12 C2 here because one card is missing and that is a spade. So 12 C2 over 51 C2, that is the probability of getting both a spade if missing card is a spade. And if missing card is not a spade, then probability of getting two spade is 13 C2 over 51 C2. But this event has already occurred. You know that A has already happened. They are asking that the missing card is not an spade if A has already occurred. Means if two cards are drawn are already spade. So just use conditional probability. In the numerator you will write P E2 intersection A, and in the denominator you will write PA. E2 intersection is the second one A, basically 3 by 4, 13 C2, 51 C2, and in the denominator you will write the total probability, which is P actually 1 by 4, 12 C2, 51 C2, then 3 by 4, 13 C2 over 51 C2. And after that it is just solving. Just solve. So you can see that if 4 into 51 C2 can be cancelled from numerator and denominator, and simplify the remaining ones, you will get your answer. So if you simplify the remaining ones, ultimately it comes out to be 39 by 50. 39 by 50 is the correct answer. Let's see this question. Y is equal to yx is the solution of this differential equation. Basically, it is linear differential equation. Linear differential equation is asked very frequently in JEE Maths. Y pi by 3 is 0. Then what will be the maximum value of this function yx? So let's get the solution. You can see it is linear differential equation dy by dx py q. So if I find its integrating factor is e raised to 2 tan x dx. So basically it is e raised to 2 log secant x. So this will become secant square x. Integrating factor is secant square x, right? Now let's write the solution. The solution will be y into integrating factor on the left side. On the right side, q into integrating factor, sin x into secant square x. So this becomes y into secant square x. Right side becomes secant x tan x. And now if you integrate the y secant square x, secant x tan x, integration will be secant x plus c. Now let's get the value of c. So y pi by 3 is 0. Y pi by 3 is 0. Means if I put x is equal to pi by 3, y will be 0. So put 0 here. X is equal to pi by 3, so 2 here plus c. So basically c is minus 2. Now if you put c minus 2, so ultimately y will be what? Y will be cos x minus 2 cos square x. And now you need its maximum value. You need its maximum value. So just make it a perfect square. If I take minus 2 common here, so it will become cos square x minus half cos x. And now I can write it as minus 2. It can be written as cos x minus 1 by 4 whole square minus 1 by 16. So basically it is what? 1 by 8 minus 2 times cos x minus 1 by 4 whole square. So you can see that this is always less than or equal to 1 by 8. Maximum value will be 1 by 8 here, because this square cannot be negative. So this square is minimum 0. So hence maximum value of y is 1 by 8 here. Let's see question number 17. Based on statistics, standard deviation, so A, B, C are three numbers such that B is A plus C. Standard deviation of A plus 2, B plus 2, C plus 2 is D. Then which of the following is true? So see, standard deviation of A plus 2, B plus 2, C plus 2 is same as standard deviation of A, B, C. If you subtract 2 from each number, standard deviation will remain same. So I can say that standard deviation of A, B, C, this is also 2. This is also D in fact. So I can say that variance of ABC is D square. Variance of ABC is D square. Now what is mean of ABC? X bar. The mean of ABC will be A plus B plus C by 3. And A plus C is B. So basically it is 2B by 3. Mean. So now I can write variance. What is variance formula? So mean of A square plus B square plus C square by 3. This is mean of A square minus A square of the mean, 2B by 3 whole square. So this is variance. This should be D square. And now just solve it. You will get your answer. Just simplify this expression. That will be your final answer. So just simplify here. So after simplification, this will become like this. Means option A is correct option here. Next, I will take question number 18. Again based on 3 dimension. You are given two lines L1, L2, and these two lines are perpendicular. Then another line L3 is given, and you have to find the angle between L2 and L3. So let's write L1 first. Line L1 is what? X minus 2 by 3. Y plus 1 over minus 2. Z minus 2 over 0. This is L1. Now let's write L2. L2 is X minus 1 over 1. Y plus 3 by 2 over alpha by 2. And Z plus 5 over 2. Now it is given that L1 and L2 are perpendicular lines. So you can write 3 into 1 minus 2 into alpha by 2 and then 0 into 2. That should be 0. So this gives you 3. Alpha is equal to 3. Now I have to find the angle between L2 and L3. Angle between L2 and L3. So let's say angle is theta. So you will write cos theta is equal to 1 into 3, which is 3. Alpha into minus 4, which is minus 4 alpha. And alpha is 3. So minus 4 alpha is minus 12. Then 2 into 4, which is 8. And divided by under root 1 plus alpha square plus 4. So 1 plus 9 plus 4. And under root 9 plus 16 plus 16. Oh, my bad. This line is not in a standard form. This L3. So I have to rewrite L3 first. Let's rewrite L3 first. Actually, L3 line is X minus 1. Let me write L3 line. Let's erase this thing first. I have to rewrite L3 line. So L3 line will be what? X minus 1 by minus 3, y minus half by minus 2, z by 4. Now you have to find angle between L2 and L3. Angle between L2 and L3. So let's write angle. So let's say theta is the angle. So cos theta will be what? 1 into minus 3, which is minus 3. Alpha by 2 into minus 2, which is minus alpha. Alpha by 2 into minus 2. And then 2 into 4, which is 8. Whole divided by under root 1 square, which is 1. Alpha by 2 square, which is 9 by 4 plus 4. And then under root 9 plus 4 plus 16. And just put the value of alpha here and simplify, you will get your answer. Theta will be cos inverse of this. So basically it is cos inverse. In fact, you will get cos inverse 4 by 29. They have written secant inverse, so that will become secant inverse 29 by 4. So ultimately, when you put alpha here, so you will get cos theta is equal to 4 by 29. Theta is cos inverse 4 by 29. So if you convert it into secant inverse, so that will be secant inverse 29 by 4. Question number 19. This determinant is equal to 1. Then number of possible ordered pair xy, and xy are integers here. So when you expand this determinant without doing anything, just expand this determinant and factorize. It is easy question, so I'm just showing you the solution. If you expand this determinant and factorize it, so ultimately you will get this. Ultimately you will get this y minus x, y minus 1, x minus 1 is equal to 1. So very easy, just expand, no need to do anything. Just expand and factorize. So ultimately you are going to get this y minus x, y minus 1, x minus 1 is equal to 1, right? Now what you will do? Now what you will do here? Just a minute. Let me show you the complete screen. Yes. Now x and y are integers here. So this y minus x is an integer, y minus 1 is also an integer, x minus 1 is also an integer. The product of three integers can be 1 only when either each of them is 1. See, you have three integers. One integer is this, one integer is this, one integer is this. The product of three integers can be 1 when either all of them are 1. So all of them are 1 means ki y minus x is 1, y minus 1 is 1, x minus 1 is 1. But it is not possible because here I get y is equal to 2, x is equal to 2. But when I put y is equal to 2, x is equal to 2, this equation doesn't get satisfied. So this is not possible, all of them 1. Or two of them should be minus 1 and one of them should be 1. So this one will also be not be possible. Means just take, let's say y minus x is 1 and remaining 2 are minus 1. This one is also not possible. Or let's say y minus 1 is minus 1, remaining 2. In any case, means just make different cases. All of them are equal to 1. You will see that it is not possible. And let's say one of them is 1, remaining 2 are minus 1. These cases are also not possible. So in any case, you are not going to get any possible values of x and y. Means there is no solution for this question. Let's move to the next question. Question number 20. Very simple integration. Just use the formula under root a square minus x square under root a square minus x square dx. I will not waste my time here. This formula is what? X by 2 under root a square minus x square plus a square by 2 sine inverse x by a. So just use this formula. A is 2 here and put the limit. You will get your answer. Now see question number 21. You have to find the number of values of x between 0 and 2 pi satisfying this equation. So just rearrange it. You can write it as sine 3x plus sine x together and sine 2x here. Similarly, cos 3x plus cos x here and cos 2x here. Now use the formula sin c plus sin d. So 2 sin c plus d by 2, 2x cos c minus d by 2, which is x, plus sin 2x. Same here, cos c plus cos d, 2 cos c plus d by 2, 2x cos x plus cos 2x. Now you can take sin 2x common here. So 2 cos x plus 1. Then minus cos 2x common, 2 cos x plus 1. So ultimately, it is 2 cos x plus 1 and sin 2x minus cos 2x 0. So this gives you two possibilities. Either cos x is equal to minus 1, either cos x is equal to minus half, in fact, or tan 2x is equal to 1. Cos x is equal to minus half gives you two solutions in 0 to 2 pi. Two solutions are 2 pi by 3 and 4 pi by 3, second quadrant and third quadrant. And tan 2x is equal to 1 also gives you, it will give you actually tan pi by 4. So tan theta, tan alpha, so theta will be n pi plus alpha. So this will give you x is equal to 4n plus 1 pi by 8. And in 0 to 2 pi, it gives you pi by 8, then 5 pi by 8, then 9 pi by 8, then 13 pi. So it gives you 4 solutions. The total number of solutions you are getting 6, 2 here, 2 here, and 4 here. So you are getting 6 solutions here. Right? Next. You have to find the coefficient of term independent of x. Basically, you have to find the term independent of x here. So what I can do here, okay, let me write is x plus 1. Let's take in the first one. In the first one, this x, if I take x raised to 1 by 3 as, let's say, a, so this will become a cube plus 1 over a square minus a plus 1. What I've taken x raised to 1 by 3 as a. And in the second one, I can write x minus 1. Let's take root x as b. Root x as b. So you will get b square minus 1 over b square minus b raised to 10. What is a here? A is x raised to 1 by 3. What is b here? B is root x, x raised to half. Now let's simplify. A cube plus 1 over a square minus a plus 1. If you factorize the numerator, so you are left with a plus 1 here. And here, if you take b square minus 1, if you factorize, so you will get b minus 1, b plus 1 in the numerator. Denominator is b. So you will get b plus 1 over b. So basically, you are getting what? You are getting a minus 1 by b whole raised to 10. A is what? X raised to 1 by 3. B is what? Root x. So 1 by root x means x raised to minus half whole raised to 10. Now you need term independent of x. So let's write the general term dr plus 1. So that will be 10cr x raised to 1 by 3 whole raised to 10 minus r, and then x raised to minus half with minus sign here whole raised to r. So this gives you 10cr x raised to 10 minus r by 3 and then minus 1 raised to r and x raised to minus r by 2. So minus r by 2. Now obviously for term independent of x, this power of x should become 0. This quantity should become 0. So if you simplify 10 minus r by 3, this should be equal to r by 2. So this gives you 20 minus 2r is equal to 3r. So basically r comes out to be 5r 20 r4. So hence term independent of x, just put r is equal to 4 here. The term independent of x is 10c4 minus 1 raised to 4. And just calculate 10c4. That will be your answer. So you can easily calculate 10C4. 10C4 is nothing but 210. So 210 is the correct answer here. Now let's see question number 20. Why is this? You have to find d2y by dx2 means second derivative at x is equal to e raised to 1 by 7. So basically I can write it as y as tan inverse. I can write here log e plus log x raised to minus 2. And then log e plus log x raised to plus 2. Here tan inverse, just divide 3 plus 2 log x over 1 minus 6 log x. Okay, so I can write it as 3 plus 2 log x and 1 minus 3 into 2 log x. Now this is tan inverse 1 minus 2 log x over 1 plus 2 log x. And this is basically, you can see this is basically formula tan inverse x plus y over 1 minus xy. So this is basically tan inverse 3 plus tan inverse 2 log x. And this is tan inverse 1 minus x over 1 plus x. So you can write it as tan inverse x minus y over 1 plus xy. So this is tan inverse 1 minus tan inverse 2 log x. Tan inverse x minus y over 1 plus xy plus tan inverse 3 plus tan inverse 2 log x. And now you can see that this tan inverse 2 log x disappears. So basically y is constant now. So dy by dx is 0 and hence d2y by dx2 is also 0. So 0 is the correct answer. Actually y is constant here. X, y, z are positive real numbers here. X plus y plus z is 1. Then what will be the minimum value of this expression? They are saying minimum value is k square. So what will be mod k? See, just to do the question quickly, see, equality will hold when x, y, z all are same. So just put x, y, z all are same. If I put x, y, z all same, so I will get x is equal to 1 by 3. Put x is equal to 1 by 3, y is equal to 1 by 3, z is equal to 1 by 3. This expression will become 64. So actually, minimum value is 64. K square is 64, mod k will be 4. So 4 is the correct answer. Just to do it quickly. But in case you want to go by process, so let's multiply these three brackets. So I can write it as x plus 1, or let's multiply, just multiply the first two brackets first. So I will get 1 plus 1 by x plus 1 by y plus 1 by z, or in fact I should write like this, that will be better. Let's write it as 1 plus x, 1 plus y, 1 plus z over x, y, z. This seems better. Now just multiply the numerator. If I multiply first two brackets, I will get 1 plus x plus y plus xy. And then 1 plus z over x, y, z. Now let's multiply once again. So I will get 1 plus x plus y plus xy plus z plus xz plus yz plus xyz over xyz. Now I'm getting 1. Then I'm getting x plus y plus z, which is again 1. Then I'm getting xy plus yz plus zx plus xyz by xyz. Now just divide by xyz, so you will get 2 over xyz plus you will get 1 over x plus 1 over y plus 1 over z plus 1. This is what you are getting. So ultimately this expression simplifies to this. Now just use AM, GM, HM. So first I am using AM greater than or equal to GM. AM greater than or equal to GM. So for three numbers, AM will be x plus y plus z by 3. GM will be cube root of x, y, z. So x plus y plus z is 1. So 1 by 3 cube root of x, y, z. if I do cubing both sides, so ultimately I'm getting 1 by xyz greater than or equal to 27. So this 2 by xyz is greater than or equal to 54. So this quantity is minimum 54. Now let's use AM greater than HM. AM greater than or equal to HM. So for three numbers, AM will be x plus y plus z by 3. And HM will be 3 divided by sum of reciprocals. X plus y plus z is 1. So if you solve it, you will get 1 by x plus 1 by y plus 1 by z greater than or equal to 9. So this quantity is minimum 9. So hence minimum value is what? Minimum value is 54 plus 9 plus 1, which is 64. So k square is 64. So hence mod k is 8. So 8 is the correct answer here. Simple application of AMGMHM. And how it will strike you if question is based on AMGMHM. So basically two hints are there. First, numbers are positive. AMGMHM is applicable for positive numbers only. And sum is given and you have to get the product and reciprocal. Product and sum of reciprocal. So sum and product AMGM, sum and sum of reciprocal AMHM. Let's move to the last question. What is the sum of maximum and minimum modulus of a complex number z satisfying this inequality? So basically mod of z minus 25 iota less than or equal to 15. Basically, if I take it as equation, so basically it is a circle having center at 25 iota, 0, 25, radius 15. But since you are taking less than or equal to, so your point z can be on the circle or inside the circle. So just draw a circle whose center is 0, 25, radius is 15. So let's say I have a circle here. Center of this circle is on the y-axis. Center is on the y-axis, 0, 25. Radius is 15. So center is 0, 25. This is the center, which is 0, 25. And radius is 15. So obviously this point is 0, 40. This point is 0, 10 because radius is 15. So obviously out of all the complex number which lie on this circle or inside the circle, on the circle or inside the circle, obviously the nearest complex number which is nearest to origin is this one, A. A is nearest to origin and this one, B, is farthest from the origin. Means minimum modulus of Z. In fact, modulus is nothing but the distance of Z from the origin. The minimum modulus of Z, minimum mod Z is 10 and maximum mod Z is 40. They are asking the sum of maximum and minimum mod Z. So that will be 50. So 50 is the correct answer here. So 50 should be the correct answer. Right? Let's wrap up the session, guys. Bye everyone. Bye bye. Take care. God bless you all. See you in the next video or in the next session. Bye bye. Take care.